Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. Very happy to have you here. Whew, what a beautiful, gorgeous day. Man, I tell you, spring can be the best sometimes. It is just the perfect temperature, sunny, sunny, sunny. I had a nice, beautiful weekend as well. How about you, Thunder? Did you have a good weekend? He's contemplating. He's gone blue again.
I I did. I had a wonderful weekend with my lovely wife.
Well, that's nice. It's always good to do things with wives who are lovely.
Yep.
Going back to old Briscoe, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
Somebody I don't remember who it was, but somebody a week or so ago um, said I look like him. I think it was you. So I was like, "You know what?
No.
Fine. Fine."
Fine. Actually, it was I think it was somebody else, but I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah. Briscoe Thunder. That's what we need. But Awesome. My weekend was nice and slow over here, but it is just stunning. It's one of those days. It's just like wow, beautiful. You know. So that's always good. But
I
We're going
do.
to get
Hang on
into.
one second. I have a cat that's stuck in a window. Hang on.
Oh, okay. Just kick it. That's how I usually deal with them. Nevertheless, I'm going to go over here, hit the like and share. I hope you guys do the same. What am I doing here? That's not where I want to be. I want to be here. But let me go back over to this first. And then what am I doing? Oh, that's why. Oh, okay. I see. All right. Well, let me do that then. Bring this over while he's cat hunting. Then I'll get back over to here. Great. So definitely hit the like and share button. Let everybody know we're on, so they come and join us and have a little bit of fun because that's the whole point. And I've noticed that this weekend, other than just spending time with family, and I had to work on Saturday, of course, but I did find time to watch a little bit of the movie Itch, and I saw an obscure little, I guess you call it a B movie called Evil Angel. It actually wasn't bad. It was a fun little flick. It was basically the movie Fallen, but not as good, you know. But then again, you have John Goodman
They
and
do that from
Denzel
time to time.
Washington, you know. What was that?
Yeah. They do that from time to time. They take a movie and then they make it not as good.
Yeah, but it was fun though. It was fun though.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, Denzel Washington, John Goodman. Jeez, what do you got to
Yeah.
do, right?
You can't
Uh,
go wrong.
right. It's that movie where he's dealing with an evil fallen entity of Azazel. This one is dealing with Lilith, but yeah, no, it was a fun little flick. It was a little old B movie. I also finally saw that the devil's house, or the house of the devil, or whatever it was. It's kind of praised amongst the horror people. Went and watched it. It's a throwback to the '80s. It's intentionally so. Eh, you know, I think young filmmakers mistake the past, where the movies used to have patience, right? They would
Yeah.
build up suspense and story, and it isn't just go kill everything. It isn't like that, right?
Hmm.
But it was a little bit too patient, if you know what I mean,
Mm,
right?
mm.
And then the ending happens real quick, and it doesn't really emphasize it doesn't put enough emphasis on her understanding exactly what has transpired, although where it's assumed that she does.
Mm.
So it's a bit of a miss for me. Even though people seem to praise, I get why they're praising it. I get it, but it missed the mark a little bit. Although it was a young take on it. Lilith from Cheers, Hello Fraser. No, a little bit different. The biblical one. Yeah, but
It's interesting that you say, a lot of people misunderstand old movies. They were at a much slower pace, most of them anyway. Not all of them, but most of
yeah,
them had a much slower pace. But a lot of people nowadays, they completely misunderstand the reason for that. And like you said, it's to
yeah,
build suspense.
it is. Yeah.
Um, Imagine if Jaws, right out of the gate, first scene, big old great white just snatches somebody. Boom.
hmm hmm
You see all of it. No,
Right.
there's no mystery. There's no nothing Because if you didn't know, like, say for some reason somehow you were in that theater and you didn't know you were watching a movie about a shark,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
it might take you a minute to understand what you're watching because they don't come right out with it. You know what I mean? Like
That's
the
true.
the the monster, which is Jaws,
Mhm.
you don't even see at all until even anything until like I think halfway into the movie where you finally see a
Right.
dorsal fin.
But it
Other than that, it's
taunts it,
just
though. It taunts
yes,
it.
yes,
And
yes,
this movie fails that point.
yeah,
The suspense building is great. It's just a long bit of uneasiness, and I get it.
yep.
Okay, fine, but I would have taken the ending and doubled the length of it because it
Mm,
was only 10 minutes, literally. I would have doubled it. I would have put the scene where the bad stuff is happening a little longer, and emphasize even stronger, especially to the main character, because that's one of the problems they fail on that. Is they don't emphasize to the main character exactly what is happening to her,
mhm,
but the movie assumes it did, right?
yeah.
And this is a mistake. And it let me find who this is. I know recognize. I think he's the Cabin in the Woods guy, which is a
Mhm,
spectacular movie, by the way.
mhm.
I think it's called The House of the Devil. Let me see here. The acting's fine.
Well,
No,
it's kind of one of the problems that Guardians 3 has. It's there's stuff that happens that just kind of happens, if
yeah,
that makes sense. There's no foreshadowing, there's no like you said taunting it. There's no teasing out what's coming. It just happens. Like there's a part where somebody betrays somebody and it would have been fine because the betrayal makes sense, but it
yeah.
would have been fine if that would have been teased. It's not teased at all. It's just, oh, boop, here we go. Now they're betraying this person. And it's like, come on, James, you know better. You know better than that. You can't have a massive character shift like that with nothing leading up to it. I have to see some foreshadowing of what's coming. I can't just assume that, well, they figured it out and there you go. Now everything's fine.
No,
That's just not good storytelling.
no, no. It's not. And like I said, we've seen good things from him, and it's not a bad movie. I think he was just young. This is
Mhm.
2009, and he was just kind of getting his feet under him.
Yeah.
He did Cabin Fever 2. He did The Innkeepers, which I actually like. VHS, The ABCs of Death. He was one of those directors. Sacraments, the Scream TV series. In the Valley of Violence, not a bad movie. Wayward Pines, got a couple episodes
Mm.
there. He did that The Exorcist thing, which is all right. Uh,
Eh.
Chambers, but recently he has done Them, which is a couple of episodes of them, but mainly the thing people know him from is X and Pearl, which have been
Mm.
received very well. And of course, excuse me, those are 11 years after that. And I have not seen either one, and I probably won't.
Yep.
But it is praised, that movie. You go to look on any list, The House of the Devil is on the modern people's thinking, and it really shouldn't be. There's so many other movies from the past that don't get recognized. People just don't care about the past unless it's a name they can't avoid.
Mm.
It's Yeah, it really doesn't deserve to be in that. It just missed the mark. But I don't like Mia Goth. She is so I'm not I have no interest in Pearl or X. I don't think she's all that Hollywood seems to
Mm.
think she is. She's kind of un. It's not comfortable looking at her. She's a really ugly lady, which sometimes that's what you want, though, right?
Right.
But of course she's one of the great Hollywood whores, right? I mean,
Mm.
literal, the ones that literally do pornography stuff, right? That's her, right?
Right.
Mia Goth. So screw her. I don't care anything about her. But anyway, people seem to like
So
it though.
the two that you just mentioned, that Pearl and X films or A24 movies, that's the studio that put them out. They just recently signed a 17-year-old kid who
Mm.
had a YouTube series that he had been making that is mega viral, and
Hmm.
he's fantastic. He's making these were mostly CGI, basically like animated things, but they weren't. animated in any kind of goofy style. They tried to be true to life, and it was good. It was very slow burn horror, which apparently they like. And he's going to be working with them now, coming up this summer, I guess, to
Mhm.
make this movie and make this movie based off of his thing he already made. I just find that fascinating that a 17-year-old kid, and I watched a lot of his videos, like a lot of his series.
Mhm.
He's really good,
Oh, cool.
really good.
Great.
So we've been needing desperately somebody to come along and do that slow, methodical horror right for a very long time because no one has been doing it for a very, very long time. Not in a way that I like. See, I don't mind horror movies. I don't really like slasher movies. They're fine, but they don't frighten me. They don't make me they give me
No,
no
they're not
sense of
scary.
dread.
It's true.
Yeah. I want senses of dread. I want long hallways and things that are just simple but can get your mind going nuts. And very few directors, at least at that level, are able to pull that off anymore. I honestly say the last time there was actual good horror movies being made was probably the 70s because they just had whatever was going on
Yeah.
then. You had these movies, these films. They didn't do a lot, but what they did was enough because then your mind was just messed up for days. Like I still don't like to watch The Shining. It messes me up. I can't sleep
Yeah.
for days
Well,
because
because
it just gets in my head.
it's actual horror.
Yes.
And when you get into some of the Carpenter stuff, even though it's more body horror stuff, you can get some horrific feelings off it. The Thing is a good
Yep.
example. The original Alien. Yeah, no, we don't see much. It's not scary. But
Mhm.
but then again, we're older, so
That's
and
true.
we've seen
We're
things
jaded.
we're jaded. With this Ty West guy, his ex and Pearl. Pearl sounds like something. At least from what Red Letter Media said, it seems like Pearl is actually a much better movie
Mhm.
overall. But I'm one of those. I'm not a prude, but I don't really care for skin flicks without purpose.
Mm.
I don't, with the gratuitous nudity and stuff like that is irrelevant to me unless there's purpose behind it. If it has purpose, okay, great. But
Right.
like say in Species, it works in there.
Mhm.
It's the whole story is created so we can get her Hendrich naked. Fair enough.
Yep.
But it works because it's essential. She's basically in a panic to breed,
Right.
right? That's the whole.
Baby crazy.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole point is for her to do that so she can keep her species alive, right?
Right.
Um, uh, but so in that case, I'm fine. But it just has to have a reason. It just needs to be logical. I don't like illogical things, if you haven't noticed.
Yes.
Stuff like that, especially like that, that absolutely, what's the word? Narcissistic movie, the Nymphomaniac. I don't know if you've seen those.
I've never seen
It's
those.
such narcissism, dude. I mean, because it was coming across as a film noir, like an
Sure.
auteur film. It's not just a pornography. Is the whole point. There's actually a story there. No, there isn't. It's just pornography, and men are bad. That's the whole point. Men are just horrible.
They
It's
are.
so narcissistic, dude. It's
In
ridiculously
fairness,
stupid.
men are pretty horrible.
Yeah, as if women aren't.
I meant men as a race, Chester. I meant the whole
Yes.
group of
Yeah,
us.
no, humans, I
Every one of us.
agree.
The men. Yes.
hmm You know what else I
The
saw though?
race of men.
My
Uh-oh.
wife was awake during this one. This one kept her attention because she falls asleep
Oh.
often. Yeah. But this one she stayed up the whole time, and of course, because it was Liam Neeson. You
Ah.
know,
Well, yeah.
Liam does basically one kind of film. It's either he's in
Yep.
the mafia or he's a cop or both,
Right.
right? But he's freaking awesome at it, right? And
Yeah.
it was a walk through the tombstones. That was a pretty good flick. It's a solid Liam Neeson, dude. You ever seen that one?
I have not. I had never even heard of it. He puts out a lot of those movies
He
though that are
does.
just They just exist, and like you said, they're one of two films.
They
Like
are.
it's the same one. But hey, listen, people keep paying to watch them, so can I be mad at him? I can't be
No,
mad at him for it.
he's just so good at it. I mean,
Yep.
if you see Liam Neeson in the title, you're good to go. And even though he's an older man, and they're all making what do they call these grandpa films? What do they call them? Geezer films.
Yeah.
And they're a very pretty low quality crap we're getting, and it just happens in the kind of lifespan of an actor. He's not that. He is that. He is that. But he always brings that quality to it that makes it, yeah. If you're in the mood for a crime drama thriller, dude, go check out Liam Neeson because you'll be happy with it. But a walk to the tombstones, yeah, that was my wife stayed awake the whole time. That right there is evidence. Seriously, I mean, she fell asleep during Batman versus Superman, which I don't blame her. My daughter did too, but that was a bad movie. But
That's a terrible movie. That movie, in fact, should not even exist.
mm, yeah, it was a
That is one
real
of
shame.
the worst films and I hate to even call it that, but technically it is, I have ever seen in my life. It's there's just nothing redeemable in that at all. Not
No,
a thing.
no, it's just boring crap. It's completely unnecessary. It's just the wrong direction. I mean, what they
Yeah.
really should have done is, spend some time with Superman. Just spend some time with him. We got plenty of Batman crap. Just chill. Spend some time with Superman, or vice versa. Spend some time with Batman, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing now. So,
I
it,
think you could do something really cool if you wanted to have Batman and Superman in the same movie. I don't have any problem with that necessarily, but the way I would do it is I would have it be mostly from Batman's perspective the whole time, and
mm,
Superman is just out there doing Superman things constantly. Obviously, I wouldn't have them fighting each other because that's always stupid. But that could be interesting, right? You could have an interesting what is Batman's perspective on it? Like
he's
obviously we know.
panicking a little bit. Yeah, that'd have been
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, that could be very interesting to
Who is?
watch him
What is
come to
this
terms with
alien?
Superman.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That would have
See
been
that
better.
that would be so much more fun than them being antagonistic to each other,
Oh, or
right?
more
That
of
that
him
would be
being an absolute dick to Alfred, maybe.
yeah,
Just
for no
for
good
no
reason. Yeah.
reason. Yeah.
I just man. What I'd actually really like is maybe James Gunn will do it. Fairness to him, maybe he will.
Hmm.
I would like Superman to just exist in his own world for a while and flesh out his universe because he has been around a very 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 long time. He has his own little corner of the DC universe that's kind of his own thing. He's
Yeah,
got all sorts of stuff, whether
he
it's from the
does.
Fortress of Solitude to different relics and things that he's collected. He has literal prisoners that he keeps in there for various reasons.
Sure.
There's all sorts of stuff that only Superman has done or could do. I want to see that. I want to build Superman's world, not the entire DC world, and then just kind of make sure you build it right so you can plug it into the broader context.
Yeah. Like, how about a Brainiac movie? We haven't got one of those. Wouldn't that be nice to see Brainiac? Right? Although I do have an answer for you though, Thundera, because I saw that that Bradley Cooper,
Yep.
Rocket Raccoon, is pushing hard to be the next Lex Luthor. So there you go. Lex is involved again,
Again.
again,
Um.
always with the Lex
Well, he
Luthor.
can now. I'm okay with him being involved. I just
Yeah,
don't
in
want
the
him to be the
background.
main bad guy. Yeah, just set him up, let him be in the background. That's fine. And I think Bradley could kill it. Actually, I don't hate that. He's not a little twerp. At least he's a full grown man.
He
I
is.
think he's like 6'3". He's a
Yeah.
big dude. Um, yeah, I think he could kill that. And Bradley's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, you know he is.
Fantastic.
Well, you're talking about that little dude who played in the last movie with
Oh God.
Ben
Yeah.
Affleck. What's his name? That actor's name? What's his name?
Is it Sandberg? What's his name? Something
Some
like that.
He's a little Jew boy. But
Yeah.
to be fair to him, he actually is a pretty good actor. Um,
He's a fine actor. He's
yeah,
just not Lex Luthor.
no, and the roles he plays where he's good at is the bumbling nerd, right? He's actually
Yeah.
quite good at that. Matter of fact, Wes Craven came out with a werewolf movie which bombed horribly for Go watch it, you'll know why. But I can't even remember the name of it. That's how bad it bombed in my head. But he plays the bumbling brother, the geek at school. He's good at that. He is good at
Mhm.
that. And that's a shame, but I really think casting is what killed that movie.
Yep.
I can't remember the name of it, but someone in the chat help me out. What was the name of the Wes Craven werewolf movie? But casting's what killed that. The idea of the movie was fine, but the casting was not right. The big bad in it, there was two actually. Wes Craven and his duos, but they both were poor choices. The female one was okay, I guess, but the main bad guy is just not a good choice. The main protagonist is actually the sister, and it's like, could you possibly have found someone with a larger forehead? I mean was that your intention? Did you go out casting, "I need the largest forehead in the universe, please." She's such
Okay.
an
So
unattractive girl.
I have answers for you. It's the name of the movie is Cursed.
Oh, yeah, that's it,
The
yeah.
actor whose name we're forgetting is Jesse Eisenberg.
That one.
That's him.
Yes.
Uh, yeah, no, he was the absolute wrong choice, wrong direction, wrong thinking, a complete misunderstanding, or maybe it was just intentionally malicious of what Lex Luthor is,
Oh, yeah,
who Lex
completely
Luthor
wrong.
is.
Yeah, yeah.
Not even close to what Lex is. And I think Brad, honestly, as much as I dislike James Gunn for various reasons, when it comes to casting, he's really good at that. I have to give him that throughout his career. He's been fairly consistent at great at casting certain roles, or at least his interpretation of those roles. Like obviously Pratt as Star Lord is, it's an awesome decision.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
For instance. But so if he goes with Bradley, which obviously him and Bradley are close, um, I don't hate that as long as
Yeah,
as long as you give me Lex, man, give me the ultimate alpha male. That's what Lex
yeah.
is.
Well, a lot of his friends will get opportunities. That's how it works, right? Just
Yeah.
like Dave Filoni's in charge of the Star Wars universe going forward, we're going to get all his rebel people everywhere, right? I mean, his
Yep.
creations, not only because it's near to his heart, but because he gets paid. Yeah, but that's how that goes. So we'll see. We'll see the Guardians, all of them again. I'm sure over on DC, which is not necessarily a bad thing. We have to wait and see. But that movie Cursed, since we're talking about that, it's just you have the cast list there in front, right? In
I
front
do.
of you. Who is the giant forehead girl?
Oh, let's see. You
She's
said
gonna
it's
be
a
at the top.
sister?
It's the sister. Yeah, yeah. She's the
Well, the way they have the
protagonist.
cast on here is a little silly. Is it Christina Ricci?
Maybe let me bring it up myself. Yeah.
Because they don't have this exactly by like importance, I guess would be the way to put it, to the thing on here on IMDb. They just have it listed.
Yeah. Here we go. 2005. Right. Wes Craven. Yeah. It's a shame. If I don't know what he's done after this. But yeah, there it is. It's Christina Ricci. Now you see in this photo they have here of her on IMDb. They're well aware of her giant forehead syndrome, and she has bangs in this picture. See, they've
Yep.
protected her. Good on you, you nice people over IMDb, because this girl is freaking giant forehead girl. She's a conehead. I swear to God. Uh, Eisenberg, as the geeky little high school brother, it's what he does best. So he's fine. This Portia de Rossi, as one of the big bads, I would have picked someone else. And everything else in this is really crap, dude. Where's our big bad here? It's got Scott Bale for no damn reason, right?
Just
Uh,
cause.
just because. Is this the guy here? Yeah, here is Joshua Jackson. He's spoiler. He's the big bad. But Dawson Creek kid, right?
Yep.
And for that kind of thing where he's the dreamboat, already fine, but he's older in this movie. He's well past that. But he's absolutely the wrong casting for this. There's nothing wrong with that dude. He's just not the right thing for what you wanted to do. To be fair, at this time, A younger just Jason Momoa might have been a good choice. Back when his Stargate Atlantis years, or more, or
Mm.
maybe even a better choice. The guy who, of course, it'd be a little bit on the nose, but the guy who played the werewolf in True Blood, the big,
Mhm.
honking man, wherever you want to call it. That dude, just ripped, freaking alpha male dude, right? He
Right.
would have been probably the perfect choice, which is why they put him in True Blood in that role. But yeah, it's just really bad casting. I think that's what hurt the movie most. And they had too much of that Scooby Doo thing feel going on too. And it's like, Wes, that's not how you make a good werewolf movie. We don't Scooby Doo it. You never Scooby Doo a horror movie
Yeah.
unless it's Scooby Doo. You know what I mean?
I do. I
Yeah.
do fully. That's part of the problem as well with a lot of modern horror movies is they don't feel, they're not, what's the word I'm looking for? Their tone is off. So
Mm,
a lot of times they are not as, what's happening on the screen isn't being taken as seriously as it should be. If that makes sense. And
hmm
that kills a horror movie, right? The whole point of it is to get me the viewer to feel something, to become almost paranoid at what I'm watching, right? Um, I want to. I After I'm done watching a horror flick, I don't want to be able to sleep, right? I want it to be able to. I want it to mess with me. I want it to be where now I'm like I'm seeing shadows move, and I'm like, whoa, what's that? That's what I want it to do. And if your tonality is way off, like you said, a Scooby Doo movie and a horror flick, or a Scooby Doo gang and a horror flick, eh, eh, you're making your job harder.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
putting yourself behind the eight ball for no good reason. What's gained by this?
Yeah. I think the guy I'm talking about's name is Joe Manganello. I think that's who.
Ah, yes.
I think that's who it is. But yeah, no, he is perfect for that kind of role. Big buff male, alpha male, but with a kind heart. That kind of
Yep.
guy. But whatever. But it's unfortunate because a really good Wes Craven werewolf movie would have been yeah, please, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't know what happened with that one, dude. And I really, really feel it's the casting. And his just scream, he does it with Scream, right? His the young adult thing he does, the 20
Yeah.
something thing. It's like, eh, eh, you know. I'm not into that, even when I was 20 something. But it is unfortunate. However, Liam Neeson's always good. Yeah. But we are getting Bradley Cooper, it seems, as Lex Luthor, whatever role he takes. But I am going to cover today in one of our stories a little bit of they've kind of taken a moment to define what James Gunn and Saffron are, their
Mm,
roles. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. So we might as well jump into it. So let's go ahead. You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. All right, there we go. So let's see here. Let's start right here. Okay, and there we go. Sad news.
Oh, we got sadness. Hang on, my thing's taking forever to load. Come on, Discord. There it is. Jim Brown, legendary running NFL running back, dead at 87. Wow, I didn't realize he was 87. Man, I'm getting
Yeah.
old.
No,
Um,
good for him, dude. Yeah.
yeah, that's a nice long life. Can't really be mad about that. Uh, this is one of those guys, man. He walked away in this prime.
He did. He
He
did.
should have been and probably would have been the actual goat at that position if he had not walked away. He decided he was done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, I
Which,
can't.
football, I don't blame him, do you?
Yeah, well, he lived to 87, so it looks like he made the right call. Is what
Mhm.
I'm saying.
Mhm.
A lot of those guys do not live to know 87 because of all the injuries and things. When you get
Yeah.
old, your body remembers.
It
Body does not
does.
forget.
And these guys are playing at a whole different level, right?
Yeah.
You got high school level, you got college level, and you got pro level. And because they're playing at that level, the injuries are far more severe, right?
Yes.
And I played football my whole life, and I'm paying for it now. I can't even imagine a pro player, dude. Jesus, right?
Yeah, it's a whole other beast. And
You
he
know,
specifically was way ahead of the curve. He was just so good.
yeah.
He was just another. Every once in a while, in every major sport, especially a team sport, not often in combat sports and single individual sports as well, but every once in a while, you'll just have somebody who's just better. There's no other way to put it. They just walk in and they're better than everyone else. And
Hmm.
Jim Brown was one of them.
Yeah,
He was just better.
and keep in mind, he left and he got himself another career. The dude's in over 40
Yes.
movies, right? I
Yes.
mean, we see him all the time as some character actor in the background, and he's pretty good at it. And the other thing, because basically all these articles, I tried to find one that was less insulting because a lot of these articles are not friendly to him.
Mm.
But because he's one of those dudes that sometimes you got to slap a bitch. He's that guy, literally. But he was also. They keep going about his activism. Every headline is activist, activist,
Oh,
activist, and it's
yes.
like, well, kinda. I mean, he was kind of doing his thing during the whole civil rights era. So it's like how it's not. He's not a Colin Kaepernick. Right? It's just everybody had an opinion during that crazy, insane time in American history. And he was friends with Malcolm X, but then again, any black celebrity at that time would have been right. He was the little endearing son that they all try to promote, which they should not have, because when he saw the light, he got dead. Yeah.
Yep.
But he's not really that. He's not. I wouldn't call him an activist. Now, what he did do was go out and help create programs to help black, underprivileged kids. That's not activism. That's actually
Mm.
doing something good, right?
Yeah.
It's different. So I don't. They keep wanting to call him an activist, and yeah, you keep. I'm older, so I grew up with Jim Brown, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, no, he's kinda. I mean, do you consider Muhammad Ali an activist?
They do nowadays because
Kinda.
if you had any opinion at all at any point, apparently you're now an activist. I don't know. To
Well,
me, an
yeah,
activist is somebody whose whole life is revolving around
yeah,
their particular whatever their
right.
cause is.
Like Colin
And I don't
Kaepernick,
think,
right?
I don't think that's true of Jim Brown. Now, maybe it is. Maybe I don't know the man. I didn't know the
No,
man personally,
it's
but I
not.
don't think so.
Yeah, it's not really. I wouldn't put that title to him. He was, of course, during the civil rights era. Of course, he was involved just like any other black celebrity would have been, right? I mean,
Right?
even Sidney Poitier. Would you consider him an activist?
No.
No. And even Muhammad Ali, he should not have listened to Louis Farrakhan, and in the end, he knew that, and he said that
Yeah.
several times. And he, keep in mind, he's, Muhammad Ali or Cassius Clay is one of those dudes that said, "Thank God my ancestors got on that goddamn boat," right?
Right.
In the end. But he did listen to Farrakhan because Farrakhan is an orchestrator of many problems for many young black people from that period, and I'm sure he still is because I don't think he's dead yet. I mean, he
No, he's
might
still out
be. I
there.
think he's still out there. That guy's a troublemaker. But
Yeah.
the only activism Muhammad Ali did was, I ain't going to join the military, and he lost his title, and he was suspended for a certain amount of time.
Yep.
So I mean, and it hurt his career. It certainly hurt his career. But I kind of put Jim in the same category, right?
Well, and
Um,
the other thing with like Jim and Muhammad, well, Muhammad didn't go. Obviously a lot of people mad at him because he dodged the draft or whatever. But
mhm.
man, anybody with sense knew that that war was bullshit. Anybody, even then, everybody with sense knew it was BS.
Yeah,
It took a long time for us to finally find the truth out of how much BS it was, but I don't blame them. Now, if somebody invading America and you dodge, then I got a problem. But that ain't. First of all, having a draft for a war of aggression is that's a whole nother level of
it
ridiculous.
is. It is. Yeah, and of course, these days we don't have the draft, or
Thank
it's not
you.
enacted don't think it's gone anywhere though, because I know
No.
every male that's in America that's listening to my voice was required to register for it at your 18th
Yep.
birthday. Were you not?
Yep.
Yep. Yep. But it's not gone anywhere. It's just not enacted. Is all. They're just not using it. They can do it any second they want though, and it might be coming.
Oh joy.
Joy. Yeah. But yeah, seriously, it might be coming. Because the whole thing in Ukraine has collapsed completely. They're done. They're done. So what do the Americans want to do? They want to at least keep this thing running up until election period because they can use it, right?
Mm.
But it's done. The Ukrainians are 100% done, right? So what do you do? The only way to deal with it is put boots on the ground, right? I mean, it's the only way to
Well,
deal with it.
officially, anyway.
Well, we have them in there already. We do, but it's not like hundreds of thousands of them, right? But that's the only thing. And the thing you got to keep in mind, this is another thing that kills me with the Western coverage of this civil war here, this Slavic struggle,
Mm.
is the fact that Putin hasn't even put his army on the ground yet.
I know.
It's over a year. He hasn't even put his army in. He put in some conscripts here or there. He's slow playing it because he understands what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Although the pressure in his country for him to just kill everything is getting higher and higher. Putin's the only one that's really being super patient. But he hasn't put his actual army in there. He eventually sent the Wagner group in. But keep in mind, that's like what we had BlackRock, right? Was that what we call it?
Mm.
Blackwater?
Blackwater.
Blackwater, yeah, that's what the Wagner group or the Wagner group. It's basically a Blackwater. It's a mercenary group. Now, sure, they're
Yep.
they're they're hired by the Russian government and they're paid for. Sure, they're connected directly, but it's not the standing army. There are 5 million actual standing army members that have not set foot in Ukraine at all. And
Correct.
that's the thing that kills me. The news isn't even talking about the fact that Russia hasn't even put their army in yet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
No,
kind
they're
of an important point, don't you think?
saving them for if they actually need them,
Yeah, because
and so far they don't.
they're probably going to have to walk across and take the entirety of Ukraine and then knock heads with Poland because that's what's going to happen.
Yep.
Because Poland is chomping at the bit to carve off a chunk of Ukraine. Understand that,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I
I
think,
personally,
yeah,
my whole opinion on it is let them fight.
let them
It's not
fight.
our
Yeah,
problem.
it's not our problem.
Until
Yeah,
they make it our problem, we don't need to get involved. I
nope.
don't care about interests and blah blah blah. No, 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 no. No, I'm done. I'm done with that nonsense. That lie. We have no interests. The only interests that the American people have are on this hemisphere. That's it. The rest of the world is the rest of the world's problem, and that's the way it should remain. I don't want an American empire. An American empire is folly and will lead to the ruination of the entire
Well,
country,
it
as
already
it
is.
has
It already has.
in
Yeah.
the last 20 years or so, if not longer, really,
Hmm.
but definitely in the last 20 so years, it's been
Well,
accelerated.
Well, the interesting thing, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania are all panicking. Oh,
Yep.
we need to bolster our defenses. Russia's going to attack. Why? Why?
Yep.
You have no issues with Russia whatsoever. Don't make issues with Russia. Why would they
Yep.
give a shit about you?
Don't poke the bear.
Yeah, just leave them be. They ain't coming at you. This has nothing to do with you, but they're all panicking. Seriously, the people in those countries are panicking, right? And of course, they're panicking because the UN and the EU and NATO keep just pumping up the rhetoric, right?
Yes. And in all honesty, it's funny you said it. There is definitely one trait. You can talk all you want negative about Putin, and that's fine. I agree with probably a lot of it. He's not a good
Sure.
man. But he's a patient man.
Oh my
He's
God,
a very patient
I
man.
didn't know how patient he was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my
And if
goodness.
the people who are worried about, him invading more of Europe or whatever, going east or going west rather, um, don't be. Be
Yeah,
worried if
he
you
don't want.
get what you want and he
Yeah,
gets got. He
he.
gets ousted from
Yeah, that
power
would be dangerous. Yeah, but
because
honestly, the
that's
Russians
what
don't
will
want that.
happen.
Yeah,
No, the Russian people definitely don't want that.
yeah.
They love Putin.
No,
I
I
know we're
mean, they
not.
don't
I know
want a
you're not
war with
supposed
Europe.
to.
They're not interested. Yeah,
No, of course not. Nobody
yeah.
wants a war with Europe. Nobody wants a war with America. Really, it's nobody really wants a war with Russia. All this bragging and chest beating and stuff. like you said, they haven't even committed yet.
They haven't even
Nobody
sent their
wants these
military yet.
wars.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. When push came to shove, things were getting a little hotter. They said, "All right, send in the mercenaries." Yeah, that's all he's
yep,
done is to put mercenaries on the ground. And to be fair, this is a proxy war. That's what the West has done as well, because the
yep,
Ukrainian army's dead, been dead for a while. All the boots on the ground for the Ukrainian side are all mercenaries.
right.
And of course, the interesting thing: who did America bring to the table? ISIS. How does that keep coming up? Why is
That's
America
amazing.
so lovey-dovey with ISIS? I thought they were our enemy.
Yeah, that's funny how that works.
Obama just accidentally, oops, more equipment dropped in the hands of ISIS. Oops,
Like 45 times.
oops.
Oh God. I love it. I love
Yeah,
listen, I'm at the point now where whatever is the most hilarious, just do it.
yeah, yeah.
Because
No,
the
I know.
world's completely screwed
Well,
and there's no fixing it.
it is no. If you go back and study the whole ISIS thing, or ISIL, as old Barack used to like to say,
Like to
um,
call it ISIL for some. It
yeah,
was
no,
very
well,
weird.
it's very telling. But basically, what ISIS was, just for you guys listening, because I know they're supposed to be the big bad scary enemy, but they're not. They're the reverse mujahideen. That's what they
Yep.
were. They were created by the Americans. They were empowered and weaponed by the Americans to cause chaos in the Middle East. So the Americans go in there and chip away, which they did,
Yep.
right? Which why do you think we pull out horribly in an incredibly stupid way because Biden, but we got what we wanted out of there. We don't need to be in there, and that's ultimately why they left. But now they got we train this entire army of terrorists. Well, let's use them. Right? Why not? Russians are doing the
Why
same
not?
thing. I mean, think about the only army that's actually walked into Ukraine from their side, because this is the scary thing. Putin said, "Yeah, Mr. Chechnya boss, go ahead, have some fun." Just keep in mind,
Enjoy.
the Chechens have been running around with no guardian for a year. Can you
Yep.
imagine the absolute carnage they have caused?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's not good, dude. Those people they are a nation of terrorists. I'll just say it right out. I don't know if YouTube will hit me for that, but maybe. Those Chechens aren't nothing to be. Even the Russians are scared of them, dude.
Yeah.
And
They're
they've
like,
been
yeah,
let
you could be in the
unfettered.
Federation.
Yeah, but I mean, they've been allowed unfettered in Ukraine.
Yep.
Mm-mm. I'm
Not
telling you,
good.
we have no clue what the numbers of civilian death is. I guarantee you it's way worse because you can't let those guys, because they're just a bunch of yahoos. It's basically like going to Texas, hey, Texas, go over there and cause trouble. Jesus. I mean, they're a bunch of yahoos, right? And Texans
Let the
are,
dog off the leash.
well, right. And the Texans would be a more reserved version of that.
Yes.
Right. But anyway, we got off topic a little bit here because Jim Brown is not a military man, but he was an absolutely stellar running back, though.
He was.
Really, really good, no joke. And beyond that, he was funny in movies. I liked him. He's funny. He's got a good
Yeah.
sense of
No, he was
humor.
fine. Yeah, he was
Yeah,
fine as an actor. I
yeah.
didn't have any problem with him.
No, I loved seeing him when he
Good
showed
gimmick.
up. Yeah, it was always nice to see his face. But he lived to 87, so good on you, sir, and safe journey. Yeah, there's nothing more to say. I mean, he was a dude,
He was a dude.
and he lived a good life. So sweet. Rock on. Let's move along here. Here we go. This is going to be. I wanted to give us a little bit of good news in the beginning because it doesn't stay good.
HarperCollins to release new unabridged audiobook for J.R.R. Tolkien's The Silmarillion, read by Andy Serkis.
I'm
Interesting.
on board for that shit. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. And notice it's unabridged, right?
Mm,
Meaning no one's messed with it. This is the original as released by Christopher Tolkien. Because the Silmarillion is just the kind of, I think it was the working operating notes for Tolkien when in the creation of his world, right?
Yes.
And Christopher saw a money opportunity and also a desire from people to have more Tolkien stuff, and he threw it kind of together, and it's basically like a Bible, really, because that's what it was. It was his Bible for his Lord of the Rings, and
Mhm.
threw it out, and I've enjoyed it. I've read it twice in my life. It's actually quite fun. It's got a lot of great detailed information. I mean, it just shows you the breadth and the absolute skill of Tolkien, right? But to have that unabridged version come out and
Yeah.
having Andy Serkis read it, shit, dude, hell yeah,
Yeah, that could be awesome.
yeah,
That
I'm
could
on.
be awesome.
It could be, I'm on board for that 100%. And
That's
I,
gonna be a work though. Ooh, daddy, that's a big book. That's some really
it
interesting.
is, but good. Andy's getting work. He's getting paid for it. It's something he's very good at. But me, the most important thing right here is this unabridged, because
Yeah.
there are so many books these days that are being bridged.
Yes.
Yes,
A bridge too far, in fact. Yeah, no, it's becoming a
abridged. Yeah.
serious problem.
No, no, they're changing
Um,
everything. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's not good. It
Yeah.
needs to stop immediately. This is the main reason, Chester, right here. I am against copyright because legally they're allowed to and change whatever they want, and I don't like it.
Yeah, but it is in my opinion, it's one of the worst affronts to free speech you could possibly do.
Yeah,
Right? I mean, we talk about free speech all the time, and it is an important thing to have. It certainly is. But to go and change a person's written word, their expression of their thoughts and emotions on page, and you go and you adjust it because you don't like a word or two, dude, that is a major violation. And keep in
yeah,
mind, we keep coming having people come back to this. I can't remember when it was, but a Supreme Court decision that said the amendments, our Bill of Rights, do not apply to private business. And I'm like, yeah, who made that decision? Because the Bill of Rights is universal.
yes.
It most certainly
There's
applies to everything. How are you going to tell me that a private business doesn't have to adhere to the Bill of Rights? What?
Yeah, I've always thought that is a ridiculous, especially considering in the United States of America, there's no such thing really as a private business because technically every business is an agent of the state.
And it's
That is what
public
you're.
as well because you
Yes.
open it so. So I mean, in your personal home, okay, fine. In your private residence, I don't even agree with that really.
Yeah.
But if you're a private home, you don't want somebody to have a gun on your property. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
But technically, that is not what the law says,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I've
Technically,
always thought it's funny how corporations, companies, and things can be sued for violations of someone's civil rights. That happens all the time.
right? But the opposite
But
isn't true. Yeah, that's yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and then
The clown
somehow
world.
we have the same people who say things like what you just said. It doesn't apply. Only applies to the government. And I'm like, what?
No,
How
that's
can you
not
be?
true.
How can a private quote unquote entity be sued for violating a civil right that they have not guaranteed that only applies to the government?
Yeah.
It
Now, to
doesn't
be
make sense.
No, it doesn't. Now, to be fair, the founders, when writing the Bill of Rights, because keep in mind, the Constitution is for the government, right?
Yep.
The Bill of Rights is for us, and
That's
it's nice that they thought of it in that dual way, right? It's good. It's very very clever. But even though that this is true, and the whole point they created it was to protect us from the government. That's fair because that is what their intentions were. It's still something that should be universal. I don't think any person in some private setting should have the right to infringe upon my First Amendment rights, my Second, my Fourth Amendment rights. I mean,
yeah.
because how far does it go? So you're saying that someone in a private business can detain me? Right?
Right.
Because when that happens, they usually get arrested or sued. So that's
Right.
not observed, but other things are, particularly freedom of speech. It's like, well, where's the line, dude? Right?
Exactly. Exactly. And I that's it's because we have very evil people who want to have their cake and eat it too. You see, they like the idea. They like the idea of the Bill of Rights, but then they do everything they can to try and find ways to get around it.
Yeah,
Our
they do.
government's been doing this for years.
Constant,
With
well, almost since the beginning, dude. If you want to get
yeah,
into the Jefferson and Adams arguments they had during his
it's a
during
serious issue, and obviously, this is why the Bill of Rights needs to be universally applied. And honestly, to completely end the argument, all you'd have to do is you would just need basically an almost well, you could do an amendment to the Constitution, but you just need a court decision from the Supreme Court that says no, no, all institutions this applies to.
right, which is what
You
the
can't just illegally search someone's stuff. You can't just arrest them without due cause or a warrant or anything. You can't, all of the Bill of Rights that we take for granted as Americans, all of those beautiful things that other countries largely don't have, um, should apply. Period. It shouldn't just apply to any agent of the state or agent even of the
no.
federal government. It should apply to everyone,
Yeah, yeah, no, I
all
agree. But
entities.
and putting amendments and stuff like these days, we're seeing a lot of people have to put things into writing that you're not allowed to sexualize children or
Yeah,
transition them. They're having to create actual laws that say that. It's insane that you have to do that, but that's where it's gotten. Right,
yeah,
but the thing with the Bill of Rights, you could put something in there that unifies it in the way you're saying. But in all honesty, it already does. Shall not be infringed is
yeah.
kind of clear,
Pretty clear. Pretty
very
clear wording.
clear. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I know.
anyway,
It's always driven me nuts. Especially you'll have a lot of libertarians. One of the reasons I walked away from their circles is they insist on what we're saying or on what we're saying is wrong. That it should only apply to government and corporations should be allowed to do whatever they want. And I'm just like, no, guys, that's preposterous. That's utterly stupid. The whole point of the Constitution is to limit institutional power.
yes,
That's its job.
yes.
You can't make a delineation on, well, but this institution doesn't call itself government, so therefore it's okay if they stomp on your throat. No, it's not. That's not okay.
No, it's
Anyway,
true. It is true. But of course, with this in particular, which of course, we know why the conversation went that way. But Andy Serkis, of course, a Londoner, or he's from Middlesex, I think, which is, basically London. And he's perfect choice for this dude. I'm 100% on board. Happy, happy, happy. And I will be checking that out because I don't buy a
oh yeah,
lot of stuff. I mean, I guess I'm kind of frugalish, but I'm not that type of person that buys the candy bar at the checkout line. I'm not that guy.
hmm
But this is actually quite interesting to me. Anyway, that's our nice part. Are you
that's
ready?
the fun.
That's the fun. Now we get into the love and joy.
Netflix's The Date Agent writer goes after David Zaslav. Quote, no amount of public facing diversity can ever overcome the destructive force that is one old white man.
Wow. Now I want to get into this a little bit more than I usually do. Now, this Night Agent, my wife actually has watched some of it. I have no interest. It's the most bland, banal, secret black ops government dude show you can imagine, right?
Hmm.
We had that thing with Chris Pratt, the Kill List, which
Terminal
is
list.
the Terminal List, yeah, which is a little different, but same genre, right? Way
Right.
more interesting. This is kind of boring. It almost has like it almost has kind of that boring European rote crime drama thing is what it really
Hmm.
is. So it's nothing special. I didn't watch enough of it to say if it has any value at all, but it didn't strike me as that interesting. But beyond that, this fella here, this guy, you know, Corey Deshawn. He's the writer of it, and some other things I've never heard of. He's literally done three things, so but he has an opinion, and here it is. And I don't care about the article. I'll just read what he says. What folks on the outside might not know is that the original intent of HBO Max was to be a younger and more diverse HBO. They went out of their way to seek out creatives and develop projects to fit that. Then one overpaid, underseasoned turkey breast comes along and destroys that. Okay. All right, Corey. Um, uh,
Turkey breast.
turkey breast, white meat. Get it?
That sounds
Yeah.
racist.
A little bit. He clarifies this
Ah,
shortly.
I
Um,
couldn't
uh,
be. I must just be misinterpreting. Yeah.
no. He clarifies he's a racist without question. Okay, but you have to understand there, Corey. A lot of people are very happy about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, continue. When you can read this one. Go ahead.
No amount of public facing diversity, I like how he put that in quotes, can
Hmm.
overcome the destructive force that is one old white man who believes everything must conform to his personal worldview. Holy shit, the lack of it. Oh boy, we'll never experience equity or freedom of expression until we free ourselves from that black hole of thought.
Wow.
Corey,
Wow.
Schnookums,
Yeah.
darling,
Yeah.
I'm begging you for just a pinch of self-awareness.
Mm,
You are literally
mm,
upset at this man for things you've created in your own mind for literally exactly what you are demanding.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, complete lack of awareness from these people. And of course, the word equity, there it is again.
Yeah,
It's their
communism.
favorite talking point. Well, no, it's evil. Equality is
Yeah.
great, equity is evil. It's very, very simple, right? It's not hard to get around. It's two words, and that's all. You don't have to remember much more. Equality, good, equity, bad.
Mm.
Yeah, but that's their talking point now. They all got it written on, they got it tattooed on their forearm, I'm sure. But of course, the thing is, well, all right then, Corey. Can I have some equity from you?
Yeah, where's the equity
Well,
at?
where's my equity, Corey? Where's my
Do I get to
writing
write Netflix
credit?
shows?
Where's
Yeah,
my money, Corey? Can you give me some? I mean,
I need some.
equity and all. You're better
Yep,
than me. You're higher than me. You're richer than me.
yep.
I would assume. So, a little bit of equity there, Corey.
Let's see it.
This industry could be so much more, and the only reason that it isn't is because less than a dozen men of the same demographic consciously choose for it not to be. What a fucking waste. I'm going back to sleep. See you all on the picket lines. Corey! Woo, baby. I'm liking Zaslav more and more.
The axe.
Yeah, the
The axe
axe.
cometh.
Yeah, look at this
Um,
this upset point he has, which I don't get because it was funny as hell. But anyway,
you might be asking yourself, why do I single out Zaslav's bullshit so much in all of my tweets compared to the others? Well, because fuck them, apparently.
yeah, that's
That's
why.
why.
And that was funny. It was funny, a little Chappelle routine back in his show back in the day before Oprah Winfrey and Bill Cosby and them kicked him out or threatened him, and he ran away. Because
Yeah.
keep that, don't forget that those people. That's why he disappeared for a long time, because he was pushed out of the industry because he was literally threatened by Oprah fucking Winfrey. No joke, dude, because he was disrespecting black people. Of course, what he was doing was shining a light on the inequities of the black community. That's how you use that word there, Corey. Um, Also because he's a trumper. The devil has been named, who paid himself an egregious amount of money to strategically erase the work of POC, single-handedly setting back industry efforts to target underrepresented communities by at least a decade.
Oh, jeez. I am so
Yeah,
sick of hearing about the plight of non-white people in
right.
America. I'm
Well,
so done with it. I wish they had some plight. That's where I'm at. Can we
right.
give them some plight, please?
Well, they
Because I'm
do.
sick of hearing them whine about plight they don't have. This is, I mean, could you get more privileged than this?
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
movie industry
Spoil the
was
brat.
catering, or he wants them to cater to an underrepresented, whatever that means, group of people. And because he, for some reason, thinks they're not, just watch anything, dude. Anything. The network you work for, the company you work for, Netflix. Their entire shtick is that. It's nothing but constant bullshit about how great black people are and how
Yep.
shitty white people are. Endlessly, constantly, unending, never ending. For crying out loud, they had the show. They still have it, but no one's probably going to watch it anymore. The Witcher show. They got this big contract to do a Witcher series. They put all this money into it,
Hmm.
and at the end of the day, the lead character who is white gets cast aside for most of it for some girl they decided to make brown. They brown washed,
Hmm.
and and then a couple other black characters as well.
Well, sure.
Don't give me this garbage that you're underrepresented. At no point in the last 45 years of movies have black people been underrepresented in Hollywood. If anything, they've
I go
been
further back than that.
massively
Yeah,
overrepresented.
they are
Massive.
incredibly overrepresented, and I go further back than 45 years. But nevertheless, I have to give Corey one bit of credit here. He has encapsulated the insanity perfectly in just a few tweets. He really
Yeah.
has. He's put the entire thing that we're all standing against in just a few tweets because this is the entitled little bitch bratness that we
Yep.
are all seeing tear everything down. Now, when it's just a bunch of people screaming in the corner, no one cares, but it's affecting the world. But he has encapsulated it perfectly, and what he's done is told me that because we're still worried about Zaslav, we don't know exactly what the deal is. We're waiting, right? We are waiting, right? But he's leaned me a little bit closer to Zaslav because clearly Zaslav has pissed this boy off,
Yep.
and that's a
And
good thing.
this idea that the market wants what he said HBO Max was originally designed to be, a non-white fest, basically bad white people, basically Netflix. Um, it doesn't. Netflix lost millions of subscribers last year. I didn't forget. They lost millions of subscribers last year. They're probably going to do the same this year.
Oh yeah.
The market doesn't want that. The viewing audience do not want it. I don't know how many times this particular trope as it's become has to fail before idiots like Corey here get it through their head that he is not a minority just racially, he is a mega minority ideologically.
Yeah,
People
that's
do
the
not want
problem.
to watch that
Yeah.
shit. They don't.
No. They don't. Yeah. And it's interesting if you look at it that he has that look, right? You can just see from his picture that he's going
Yeah,
to educate you. You can see it.
exactly.
But look how far things have gone, right? We got Nick Cannon, right? Nick was a poor replacement for Jerry Springer on some talent show. I can't. My family used to watch it. And well, whatever he did, okay. Um, Kenny screwed up being married to what's her name, Mariah Carey.
Yeah,
Can he get that right? But nevertheless, he's out there now, and he's on the Masked Singer or something like that. He's a host again. But keep in mind that Nick Cannon openly says and rabidly says that white people are an inhuman demonic species.
yeah,
Now, I don't know if you get much more racist than that. Just imagine any kind of celebrity saying the same thing about any other color. They would not get a stitch of work and they'd be completely canceled, right? But
mhm,
he can say it just happily. He gets no pushback on it. He keeps his job. He keeps making money, even though you can't get more rabidly racist than that. That is
yeah,
extreme. That's the definition of racism in the extreme, right? And you get these guys like this because they have the right skin color. They can say whatever hateful nonsense they want. And the thing is, Corey, none of us want what you want. We don't want this nonsense. And that's what he's arguing for. He's arguing for more of the same, right? So, no, Corey. Go home. Bad Corey. He needs a nose slap, I think.
would be nice.
Yeah, it would be
Would be
nice.
nice.
Yeah. I'm sure that was somehow racist. But anyway, it's not just Corey, of course. Certainly not.
Never is. The Lord of the Rings of Power actor Ismael Cruz Cordova,
Mm,
my goodness,
mm.
says he's victim of death threats and racism, but provides no evidence.
Of course they don't. They never provide any evidence. They just say a thing and they don't prove it. And of course,
That's
the reason they don't do that, like consistently, is because they can't. Right.
that's
But
correct.
this guy's another perfect example. Everyone, all the whites are trying to kill him. Really? Is that the reality we see in front of us? That the absolute rampage of white violence? Is this what we see in the world today? Is it?
Not quite.
Not quite. I mean, the evidence seems to contradict you there, Ishmael. Although your name's cool, you got that going for you. You're not a bad looking dude. You're kind of shit looking elf, but not a bad looking dude. Uh,
He's
but
not.
uh, but he's an absolute victim, though. I mean, look at the victim here. How much money do you think he got paid to do that? How
Oh,
much? Would
wow.
they spend $1 billion on that? How much do you think little old Ishmael got here? Think he picked up a million or 10?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah,
Somewhere in that ballpark.
yeah, I bet. I doubt he was baseline salary. I doubt it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But old Ishmael here, he's just so oppressed, incredibly oppressed, and the whole white world is out to murderate him. And it's like, yeah, I hate to, I really, it's a shame, really, because Ishmael, how much white you think you got in you, buddy?
Quite a bit.
A lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
a
He's even
lot.
got a white last two of them white
Hmm.
last names.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Mm, mm, yeah, yeah. But anyway, he goes on and on. I'm not gonna read it because who gives a shit? But he's just so oppressed. It's unbelievable how he even breathes and makes it through the day. I mean, it's just amazing how he lives through his day. It's just, he's the boldest and bravest ever, ever. Yeah. So and of course it gets into this cow as well. Yeah, I said it. Go ahead,
Yeah.
come at me. Right?
Cow.
Because this, I don't care that she's fat. If she wasn't a bitch, I wouldn't care. Because who cares how big? No one cares your size, actually.
Mhm.
But if you become a hostile, noisy bitch, people are going to pick on every little thing because they can, right? But
Right.
this thing, and she's more important than him even. She is saying exactly the same nonsense that our boy Corey here is. Exactly the same. We need more of it. We're going the right direction. We don't need white people to take us back. That's what she's
Take
saying.
us back.
Take us back. Yeah.
As she participates in the appropriation of white culture,
They do that a
a little
lot.
brazenly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean the clothing and the hairstyles and
Well, I mean, the Lord of the Rings director.
language. Yeah.
I
Mm.
mean, everybody can pretend that he wrote that for the world, but he didn't. He wrote that for white people.
He wrote it for the
He said
English,
himself.
very particularly the Anglo-Saxons.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
The
who he
a very
actually wrote for.
specific group of white
Yeah,
people, in fact.
yeah. Which I'm not a part of. I am neither
Uh,
Anglo or Saxon.
I think I have Saxon in me, but
Yeah.
regardless, regardless, like you can't say he didn't when there's literal. I mean, I have it in mind. One of the forewords he talks about what he wrote this for, who
Mm.
it's for, what it's for. He's very. It's not a mystery. It's not.
No,
It's
no.
explicit.
Yeah, and of course, if you pay attention, who are the heroes of his books? The
Yep.
hobbits. And who do the
Yep.
hobbits represent? The English.
That's right.
Yeah. But this lady right here is incredibly hateful. She's very racist. She's all on board with the Cleopatra stuff, I'm sure, because that we was Kang's thing
Yeah.
is ongoing, and they, this Afrocentrism that we're seeing more and more and more of. It's nonsense that the Black Africans invented everything ever that any human ever did, and somehow the inferior, weaker, technologically dumb primitives were able
That's right.
to take everything from them, destroy them, and rule the world. Don't know how that works, but it did though. So
Practice.
lots of it, I
Homegoing.
guess.
Yeah.
But okie dokie. But she's 100% on board for that. And to be fair, he's far more reasonable in his nonsense than she is. But
Yeah.
she's definitely in the Corey camp. She's Corey camp. Okay.
I
Um,
don't I don't forgive them for, and obviously it's not particularly these actors specifically fault, but Amazon especially for their decision to race swap elves. Sorry, but uh, you can't make the
or
argument.
dwarves. Yeah.
Yes, you can't make the argument, especially in the elven case. You cannot make the argument that race is not a part of their character.
Mhm.
It is their whole character.
It is their character, yeah. You know what they could have easily done because they didn't have the rights. We know they didn't have the rights, right?
Yes.
So, all right, how about this? Let's be clever for 2 seconds. 2 seconds, right?
Mhm.
Let's go over to the east, right?
Yep.
And make a story from the point of view of those who are serving Sauron and the armies that are moving in, and find a group of people of color who, because that's who they are, people of color amongst them who are not who don't agree with the evil that's going on, and they're trying in vain to stand against it. Boy, that would
Yep.
be interesting, wouldn't it? A
Yeah.
point of view from the other side. Interesting. But no, 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 we just race swap everything because
Yeah.
that's the way you do, right?
Just
Uh,
easier that way.
but just understand this woman is an absolute horrible human being. She's a racist. She's a nasty, nasty racist. There's nothing good to say about this horrible woman. She's not a good person. She's not. And neither is Corey. He's not a good person. This other kid here, he's being melodramatic. He's lying, but he's nowhere near the same level of thing. He's just being a little prima donna, is what he's really. It's nowhere near the same level as this nightmare human here. This one, right?
Yep.
But anyway, it's just more of the same, right? Just more of the same.
More of the same.
But the fact that they're screeching so much shows you that things are starting to change a little bit. We're getting starting to get some actual ground level grassroots pushback. We saw this with Bud Light. We've seen this with Miller. We're seeing it with Nike. We're seeing it with Heckler Koch. We're seeing it with Adidas, etc. They're starting to get actual pushback. Actual pushback. I hope it keeps going. Cancel
I do.
every damn one of them, dude. And you know what the problem for all these little companies and their little advertising agencies or departments, depending, June is right around the corner.
Here it comes. You can
Yeah,
feel it, can't you?
what are
Can't
they?
you feel it?
What are they gonna do?
Oh, they're gonna
Because
lean into it hard. They're gonna triple, quadruple down. They have to.
yeah, I
They have to
suppose.
now.
Yeah,
They're at the point now where the sword of Damocles is hanging over their head, and if they don't, it's gonna come crashing. They can't afford now, especially these companies. They can't. They've already got the market mad at them. They can't afford the market masters to be mad at them too.
well,
So they're just gonna bend the knee. They're gonna congeal,
maybe.
and they're gonna do exactly as their masters
And they're
command
going to
them
get
to do,
hammered because the
and they're
population is
gonna
starting to
get
blow.
hammered.
They're going to get
And it's
hammered.
funny, it's because it's not even like a right or a left thing when it comes to this, especially this. It's both sides, right? You have a lot
Right.
of lefties who, if you go around, look around on social media, they hate it just as much as the right does. Now, it can be for very different reasons, but the hatred's the same.
Oh, sure.
They
Well,
don't
because
like the pandering, and it's fake. It's nonsense. Everybody knows
it
it's
is.
fake. It's not
Eh,
real. They don't care.
Of course they don't. And understand a liberal is not a progressive. They're different,
Correct.
right? A liberal is someone that you can, we might have, it's a big government, small government disagreements, but that's about the extent of it, right?
Yeah.
And that argument's been going on forever. I mean, even the Romans had this kind of conversations, right? But we're going to see some serious hammering going on. And keep in mind this whole thing because these companies say, "Well, but what about our ESG score? That didn't exist a year ago, buddy. Why is this so important to now?" It's out of nowhere this thing has come from. Who cares? Who cares? If you guys just said no, it would be
Yep.
done. It'd be done
Sure
because
would.
we know a lot of these companies are not true believers. We know they're not. They're just doing it because of money. They're afraid of it. But you're starting to pay on the back end, dude. And I hope it collapses in a hard way. Because here's
Too.
something that I probably haven't said much in it, but it is my true opinion. I don't give a lot of my direct opinion. I just react to things, right?
Mm.
But my opinion is this: we as humanity in the West, we really need to go back to a local community-based lifestyle. We really, really do. We have extended ourselves so far beyond the community that it no longer exists. Do you know your neighbors? Do you know the people around you? Do you guys meet? Do you help each other? Do you interact? Probably not, right?
Yep.
Probably not. Now I'm lucky to where I am because we do, but it's a staunch, shocking thing for me because even at my time we didn't have it at that level that they still have it here, and it shows you what America and Europe used to have, right? We need to go
Trust.
back to that local, and I don't mean just state, Edwin. I agree with that 100%. I am a conservative in that regard for sure. But I mean your local town.
Yeah.
You need to go back to your farmers markets. You need to go back to as supporting your local community as much as possible. You can't do that with everything. I get that. But maybe you buy a little bit less. Be a little less fat. You know, be a little bit more hale and healthy, and support your local community. Go out to activities and interactions. Really, this is where religion comes in to being the most important thing you can have. It doesn't matter whether you believe the doctrine. It's about the community and social networking that these things create. I mean,
Mm.
I've read every religious document there is. I've read it all, every bit of it, and in multiple languages, right? And here's the thing
Yep.
I'll tell you about these documents, like the Bible or the Quran. Most of it's history. There's a bunch of things in there, how to live your life, and law. The actual spiritual aspect of these books is very narrow. There's very little in the Bible about actual spirituality.
Mm.
Most of it is
Yeah.
history, life, a way to live healthy and safe, and law. That's what these books mainly are because that's what they're for. They're there to organize community in a healthy and stable way. That's the whole point of
Mhm.
it. And then they sprinkle a little bit of spirituality in there because why not? Right? I mean,
Right.
but I'm saying that's the reality of these things, and we really, really, really need to go back to a local lifestyle. Everyone, the whole world would be happier. It really would, and it'd be more sustainable, and you'd find in the end you'd be richer for it in every way.
Yes. There's a one of my, what's what I'm looking for, political aspirations, I guess. What I want to see happen is basically what you're talking about. So if I get what I want, and that's the breaking of the current federal union that we live in today into a much more reasonable one, that's exactly what would happen. What the people, some of the people I talk to and people who came up with these ideas, they say let 1,000 nations bloom. And what they mean by that is what you're talking about. The
Yes,
the best government, the best lifestyle is local, is small scale.
small.
Is
Yeah,
as you scale bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, it always gets worse.
yeah,
Always.
yeah.
The services get worse, the oppression or tyranny or whatever you want to call it's going to get worse because it just must. At that scale, that's what's going to happen. It can no longer, think of it like a ship. You can no longer, like a speedboat, do a quick turn when you're in a big cruise ship. You can't do that. So every time that ship turns, it's turning hard. It's
Hmm.
turning a lot of weight. So if you're on the other end of that, you're going to get crushed. Whereas if you're, a rowboat, much smaller, it's not as big of a deal if it turns against you a little bit. So my point is, what you're saying is the exact right solution.
Yep.
Even people who want socialism, right? Say you want some form of socialism, whatever. That doesn't work on a national scale for very long.
No,
It just doesn't. And but it will and can and should and probably ought to work on a smaller scale.
in a
If
farming
everybody's
community, it
rowing the
can. Yeah.
same, yeah, everybody's rowing the same direction. There's no greed pulling each other apart, or there's very little of it. It can work. The principle can work, but it doesn't work to scale. Most things are that way. Democracy is the best example. Democracy's fine in a small community around 1,000, maybe 10,000 people at most. Once you start to get bigger than that, then things start to get lost in translation, which is what the founders were trying to prevent with the federalized
Well,
system and especially the electoral college.
constitutional republic and all, yeah.
Yes.
No, that's 100% true. The federal government is not what it was supposed to be, and I don't
No.
think that I missed the fact that you're suggesting that I don't measure up to the eloquent musings of Thomas Jefferson. Fine, I'll level up then. Thank you, Thundero.
Let 1,000 nations bloom. That is my ultimate political goal on this continent. We already basically are probably even more than 1,000 nations if we're being honest. We need to just accept reality and stop fighting it.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you get rid of the United States. We would still could still very easily all be under
No,
one umbrella,
easily.
but that umbrella
It
needs to
was the
have
intent.
many, many different seats
Yes.
underneath of it.
Yes. Yeah. No, no, 100%. And that's and this is where we've really gone wrong. And
Yep.
I know it's such a rote Republican argument, but it's rote because it's the answer, right?
Yep.
Edwin does have some opinion here, so I'll go ahead and read it. He says, "Word to your mother, sweet. State governments will have to divest from BlackRock to cut ESG. That's a problem. What's the pool at on the debt ceiling? If the debt ceiling isn't increased, get out of urban areas, dude. I would already be out of urban areas. We do that with our neighbors, and I'm working on growing food for all of us. Yes, no, the local community is so much more efficient because everyone's interacting with each other, and it creates it creates equity for
Yep.
everyone. Wow, did I just use that word in the proper way finally?
Creates shared
Wow.
equity through
Yeah,
reciprocity.
I can't believe I've actually heard someone use the word in a correct sentence. Um,
Yeah. The
that's
thing that's missing with so many of these people, right? These like that Deshaun guy and all these other people talking about equity, is they don't want equity because they don't want it to be reciprocal. If equity isn't reciprocal, if it's not done through reciprocal exchange, then it's just tyranny. That's all it is. You can call it whatever you want, but you're just oppressing whoever you're making equal to you. That's all you're doing. You're
yeah.
pulling them back to pull yourself up or other people up. That's not equity. That's oppression.
It
That's all
is,
it is.
and we're seeing a lot of it. And he continues with the debt ceiling problem, and of course the cities are going to implode as they always do. It always happens like that. Every time you see anything collapse, it always ends up coming back to the countryside to stabilize it. Kind of like when we let women run loose, as we've done many, many, many times throughout history, and they absolutely burn everything to the goddamn ground. Who's the ones that
Yeah,
has to come clean the shit up? Always. Who?
always, always,
Us.
every time. Yeah.
God damn it.
One of the
Anyway.
one of the most recent examples of this happening was in good old jolly France,
Mhm.
where the communists quite literally took over Paris, turned it into a commune, and
Mm.
eventually the rurals, quote unquote, the people living out there, had enough of it and went and effectively conquered their own city and took it back
Yeah.
and restored order and
Yeah.
sanity to that once lovely city.
But you know the
Um,
interesting thing about that? If you go
uh,
around the world, when they talk about revolution, who do they
yep,
always mention?
the French or the
France.
American?
The
Yeah, the
French.
French.
They never mention the Americans at all, even though ours was successful. The French
Yeah,
Revolution was one of the greatest, bloodiest debacles in history, but yet
and
everyone
led
talks about it.
directly to one of the greatest dictators of all time, the old emperor himself, Napoleon,
Yeah.
slaughtering his way through all of the old
Hmm.
world, killing, I don't know, estimates are around 20 million, might be more, might be less people in his doing. Um, and guess what, Chester? And I all comes full circle because you know what his biggest mistake was? He
Being
poked the
short.
damn bear.
He did
That's what he
poke the
did.
damn bear. Yeah, don't poke the bear. Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
poke the
yeah.
bear.
Don't poke
Leave
the
the
bear.
bear alone.
Yeah, leave the
Yeah.
bear alone. Yeah. Hmm. Well, anyway, let's move along. But wow, dude, wow, totally, completely oblivious. All right.
Yeah. Evil people. James Gunn differentiates what he does at DC Studios from Peter Safran's, which is a good name. I like that. Saffron. duties and Kevin Feige's at Marvel. At Marvel? Marvel. At
at
Marvel.
Marvel. I just want to take a moment and respect the bravery for James
Yeah,
Gunn to wear this mustard suit.
that is very yellow. That's a
Yes,
decision
it
that was
is.
made.
It was, and there's it's layered because he's wearing
Yeah,
a T-shirt as well.
also yellow.
Yeah.
See,
Uh,
he should have been real brave and went with the full Hulk Hogan and put the red T-shirt on and
mm-hmm.
just spin mustard and
Mm,
ketchup and just
mm,
just leaned into it.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Uh, but this article, we already know this, but I just want to put this in here because basically, James has come out and just clarified it 100%, so there's no confusion. Saffron is in charge of the business side. Gunn is the creative. Done. That's
Easy,
it. Right. Uh,
simple.
it's simple. Gunn's the creative, and he needs to go to Papa Saffron to get permission to do everything. That's the
Yep,
deal. It's the same thing we had with Feige when was it Perlmutter? Was that who he was under? I think it was
I believe
Perlmutter.
so.
And of course, when Feige was under Perlmutter, he was producing fun content, right?
Yep.
It's when he got out from underneath him that we started seeing this nonsense. And of course, that's what he's showing the difference because as it stands right now over at Disney or Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige is these two men together. Kevin Feige is the everything. And of
Yep.
course, he didn't used to be, but he is now. James is the creative, Saffron is the boss. Simple.
And then Saffron's boss is the axe
Well, he's
himself.
in charge of all of Warner
Yeah.
Brothers Discovery. He's the boss of everything. We're talking about just DC Studios only. So fine, and that's a good thing because Saffron has his claim to fame is he was the producer of the Conjuring series. That's how he's made his name. Basically. So this is an executive who's overseeing a crazy creative because James Gunn is a crazy creative. That's exactly what it
He's a
is.
psycho man.
He
Yep.
is. Keep in mind, this is not Peter clarifying this. James is. He's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
He's the boss. I'm the creative. Sweet. Good.
That's
That
fine.
that gives us a little bit of a feeling of comfort, right?
Right.
Because I don't know that you want to let James Gunn or any of these creatives loose. I really
No.
don't think you want to. And having an actual money man executive in charge is, I know it's seems counterintuitive, but it's actually a good thing in this case.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I'm really looking forward to his Creature Commandos. I think it's going to be
That'll be good.
spectacular, dude. Yeah,
But that's the movie he can make,
yeah, yeah,
right? He
yeah,
makes
yeah,
that
yeah,
movie. He does that movie very well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just don't. I'm telling you, man. After watching Guardians 3, I have no. I actually am in a worse spot of hope for this
Yeah,
Superman movie.
yeah, yeah, no, and what it reminds me with these two is Sam Raimi and his brother,
Yeah,
right?
very similar.
And
Yeah,
they're actually kind of similar looking even to the Raimis. But we already knew this. This is not new information. We already knew this. But it's nice that James had no qualms of saying, "Oh yeah, 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 this is the situation." It's very, very simple and clear. That's good.
right.
That's good. We know exactly what's what now. And like I said, with some professional oversight, James might put out some good stuff. But I 100% agree with you. I just don't think he has the wherewithal to do all the different genres necessary. He's good at one thing. He's a one-trick pony, and he's been doing it since his Troma days. But if he's smart and as Saffron steps in, he will hire other directors to handle the things he can't do, right? And we'll
Well, they
see.
also have the reason why I mentioned him. They have to make the axe happy, as
They
he's
do.
shown. He has no problem stepping in if he's unhappy. So he seems to understand Superman. Oddly enough, the things I've seen him say about it. He understands the importance, what Superman represents to
Sure.
just the world in general.
Yeah.
So if he's not happy with it, I almost guarantee you, as much as they publicly they're saying that James has basically final say on a lot of things, or he's the one in charge of the creative. I bet you anything that when it comes to this particular film, maybe the other stuff, he doesn't meddle, But when it comes to Superman, I bet you he's going to have a meeting up at the big boss's office to go over that script. I
Probably.
just don't.
Yeah.
Zaslav understands. We've
Well,
seen what he said
yeah.
about it. He knows that they must get this right. So
Right.
it doesn't matter. No matter how good he makes everything else, he could make awesome everything else. If Superman sucks, doesn't matter.
Right.
It's over before it starts.
And
So
Zaslav is a classic Superman fan,
yes,
clearly.
yes,
But there's two layers here though, because James also has to make Saffron happy, right?
that's right.
They a lot of and I think that's why Gunn wanted to clarify it. I think because a lot of things were like, are they equal or is it they were promoting it as these were co bosses. It's not.
Right.
Peter Safran's the boss.
Yes.
James Gunn is the creative dude. He's Kevin Feige back when
Creative
he was
director.
underneath Perlmutter. He's the
Right.
creative dude. And Perlmutter came and put his foot down many times, which pissed off little Feige over and over and over to the point that he said, "I'm leaving unless you make me the big boss." And they're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, Kevin." And then look
Fine,
what
Kevin.
happened. Look what happened,
Yeah.
right?
Drove it right into
Um,
the ground.
right. So
But it's
this
kind
is
of
good.
like how Triple H and Vince McMahon seem to be running the WWE right now.
Right.
Triple H is the chief creative officer, and Vince is obviously Vince. Um, and I think that's probably the best way to do it. And the reason why is because, like you were saying,
Mm,
you need somebody who has that brain that can just pop ideas, pop, 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 pop when it comes to making stuff, a
sure.
creative. But then you also have to have somebody to reel that in. To be like, all right, blah, 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 blah. We got to back it up. That's a good idea. Let's run with that. We don't need 17 good ideas in one movie. We only need one or two, and then build out from there because more good ideas cost money.
Right.
So it's nice to have somebody who can help, get it focused. This Superman movie that he's making, we have no idea what he's going to do. I don't even know if James knows fully what he's going to do yet. Um, but it has to be focused. It has to be almost laser focused because we've seen now over the last 2 decades multiple two iterations at least of Superman, and they've both fallen on their face for various different reasons. Very little had to do with the actors. Everything had to do with the directors. Um, I hope James understands, and he probably does. He's not a dumb guy. I hope
No,
he
he's not.
understands that this movie cannot be scatterbrained. It cannot. You can. It needs to be a tight ship from beginning to
Right.
end, and it needs to have a purpose, a story, and not just a story, but an actual moral to the story.
Right.
It can't
Well,
just be another Superman, a superhero movie. It just can't.
no, it needs to be. They need to hit it out of the park. That's for sure.
Yes.
But let's keep in mind a couple of things, right? One, Matt Reeves with James Gunn's reference to Matt Reeves and his Batman. His comment, well, yeah, he's got that,
Yeah.
meaning he has
Got
no
that.
problem letting him do what he's doing, right? Because he
No.
knows he's doing a good job. And also you got to take this into account as well. This is James Gunn's big shot, dude. This
Yep.
is his shot. If he
It's
does
funny.
this right, he
Yep.
becomes legend.
Yep. He becomes Spielberg. He
He
becomes that level
does.
of guy. And
So
it's funny because I said that last night. I was talking to some guys on Discord, and I said that exact same thing. I think he took this job because he knows this very, 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 very well. He's trying to make himself a star, right? Which, good, bad, or indifferent, might work out, might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. We'll just have to wait and see. And the reason why I say that is because he's freaking everywhere. He's doing interviews after interview after interview. He's on Twitter all the time. He's doing this, he's that. This man has made himself the entire face of this company right now.
right.
He's made himself a star. And I think that is the main reason he took this role. I don't think or took this job. I don't think it's because of a great passion that he has for DC
Well,
characters or
legacy.
whatever.
Yeah,
Exactly. He
legacy.
calls it Superman Legacy. All of this is a tell what he's
Yeah,
here
yeah.
to do. What
And
this is about for him.
do you blame him? I mean, he
No.
can cement if he does this right, he can cement himself, dude. It's this
Yeah.
this is more important than anything he's done in his life. And
This he
I bet you he
becomes
knows it.
Oh, he definitely knows it. He becomes, like I said, and I don't mean that sarcastically or hyperbolically, he becomes a Spielberg. He becomes a type of guy who now is a legend. He becomes a
Yep.
legend in Hollywood forever.
Yep.
If they nail the DCU after every nonsense they've been doing, and he actually brings out something awesome, wholesome, and sincere with Superman, and it works on every level. Boom, boom, boom. Somebody finally, since the '70s, makes a Superman movie that doesn't suck, that gets the character, that gets the tone of the character, that has the right actor, everything, the right theme music, all of it. If he does it and rights the ship and gets DC where they should be, because honestly, in my opinion, I love Marvel as much as anybody, but DC should be the big dog. They should be the big dog. They've been in the game longer. They have Superman and Batman. There's no reason they shouldn't be the big dog in this fight, and yet they're not even in the fight yet.
No.
So
Yeah. They dropped the ball
this
for
could
sure.
be a legendary. It will be. It will be a legendary situation if he succeeds. If he
Mhm.
fails,
Mhm.
well, it
Well,
was a
I
good
know.
career,
No,
James.
of course that's true. But keep in mind, this is not a silver spoon boy. He's
Yes.
not. He earned his chops, dude, in the
Yep.
trenches. So that gives me hope. Now I understand he was doing that whole stupid edge lord crap and dark humor and stuff, and that's going to stain him, unfortunately. But I'm rooting for him because I want good films.
I
I
want
really
good
do.
Superman.
Yeah, I want a good
More than
Superman.
anything
Yeah.
else, I think the world deserves, after all these years of these comic book movies,
Hey,
for
Roger.
years, I remember as a kid, so many of us, so many of us wanted good superhero flicks, because a lot of the superhero flicks, besides Batman, I guess, were just trash if they existed at all. And then we finally started getting decent ones with Blade and things, and then obviously,
Mm.
your X-Men, your Spider-Man, da
Iron
da da
Man.
da.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yet we have never had, in my lifetime anyway, a good Superman movie.
No,
It's just not. It doesn't
we
exist.
had a good Superman.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
but we
did.
didn't have a
We
good
had a
Superman movie.
fantastic one.
I agree 100%.
But
Yep.
my overall point is, I think the world could really, really use Superman right now. Honestly, and I mean that. I know that might sound cheesy, whatever, but I honestly think that's true. We just came out of this pandemic where millions of people died and all this other stuff. If there has never been a time where we need the almost universal symbol of hope that he has become, then there has never been a time when he was ever
Yeah.
relevant.
No, that's true. That is
Honestly,
true. I agree 100%. We do need a hero. And
yes.
Eric, I saw that bad dad joke. Don't you make another one. I know Tina Turner's going over in his head. I know it is. I don't want to hear it. Yeah. Speaking of Eric reminds me because he's promised me a whatchamacallit, which is cool. But of course, he
Oh,
doesn't have to do it all. But you know what I saw in that movie that the Devil's the House of the Devil,
mm,
Ty West movie. Uh, the girl, she several times was because she liked them. She was eating the candy bars, Sky bars.
nice.
I used to love those, man. Do they still make those?
I don't know. Not a big candy bar connoisseur. I honestly don't know.
I love those. It was basically four separate little chocolate things put together with
Yeah,
different, fillings, nougat and coconut and chocolate and what have you. But I
nice.
used to, when I was a little kid, I don't know if I'd like it now. I don't eat much of that stuff. But when I was a kid, I loved me some Sky Bar, man. Sky Bar and 100,000 grand bars. Mm,
Yeah, those they still make. Yeah, those they
yeah,
definitely still make.
yeah, I like those things. But anyway, potentially good news. So, and I like the fact that James himself clarified it, and
Yeah,
he did so in an unambiguous way.
he
Uh,
doesn't seem like an arrogant guy.
no, he doesn't. No, he
He doesn't.
doesn't. He's a bit of an idiot. He's perverted,
Yeah.
clearly.
Yes.
But there's a lot of that in the world in Hollywood today. He fits right in.
He certainly does. Netflix eager to alienate even more customers with quote gay U.S. Marine drama, The Core. And is it with a black guy, because that's even more
It
juicy.
is best. It is best. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the Navy, where we touch ourselves daily in the Navy.
Oh gosh.
Yes. Of
The
course, the Marine Corps is actually part of the Navy. For those of you who don't know. Yes.
that's correct.
Yeah. Skybar was
Technically,
great,
yes.
Eric. But alrighty then. We're gonna have our ultra gays. And here's the cast. So I don't know why there's a
Oh,
black man here, but
yeah.
there's
Well,
our
that's why I was wondering. Like,
yeah.
wait a minute.
There's your cast.
Uh,
Somewhat diverse. The ginger got a job. It's gay though, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
These look very militaristic men. They look like they're in the Marines. The
Definitely, yeah.
most devastating fighting force on the planet. They look exactly like Marines,
Yeah,
especially her.
warriors.
She's going to be
Warriors,
she's
a
going to
lot of
be
them.
the sergeant or lieutenant. I bet you. I
Yeah,
bet you. I
yeah.
bet you. This is a series, and of course, just look how manly and masculine and fit they are. How many push-ups and pull-ups and trenches can they run through? I wonder. Especially this one here on the left. Oh boy, isn't he precious?
I'm just saying, listen, you wanna do the gay propaganda, fine, but
Wow.
can we get some manly looking gay men, please? Do they all have to
Wow.
be twinks?
Wow.
Where's the bears at? Chester, where's the
Twinkies?
bears?
I like Twinkies.
Do you now?
Yeah, Twinkies
You
are
have been in
tasty.
the clubs a lot. Yeah.
I don't know why is he a Twinkie though?
No, he's a twink. That's what they call pretty gay boys. Twinks.
Is it?
Yes.
When did that happen?
Since forever.
Hmm.
Twinks. Yeah. And big
We call
burly
them
ones,
ladyboys.
well, yeah, when they are real pretty. These ones are still mannish, but pretty mannish. Like this guy right here is a perfect example. Um,
A
and
twink.
the big burly
New
ones are
terminology.
bears.
Huh?
So you would be, if you were a gay man, you'd be a bear.
Why don't disparage bears?
Listen, I don't make the
Stupid
rules.
young
Just
people.
telling you,
Um,
just
but
telling you what they call them.
but yeah, this
But my
kid
point
is
is, can we please get some more?
such a marine. Yeah.
Can we get some more manly gays? Do they all have to be this effeminate, doesn't even look like a man nonsense? Like, I don't care. You want to make your gay propaganda cool? Make it. Rock out. If it's good, I might even watch it. But I don't want to watch this. I want to watch big man. I'm like Vince McMahon. If I'm gonna watch big men smacking me, or if I'm gonna watch men smacking
I don't
me,
want to
they
watch
better
it.
be
I
big.
don't know. No
They better
bears.
be big men.
No bears. Now, of course, this from Lionsgate, The Inspection is another a marine movie. It's already out or coming. It's already in the can, at least. We won't watch that trailer. And then, of course, your little girl is asking, "Why is everything gay?" Good question, little girl. Redacted. I don't know what that is. But let's see this little thing here from the United States Marines for June.
Oh
Let's take a look.
God.
Throughout June, the United States Marine Corps takes #pride in recognizing and honoring the contributions of our LGBTQ service members. We remain committed to fostering an environment free from discrimination and defend the values of treating all equally with dignity and respect. I don't think I throw that on the field against the Russians.
Yeah, no, no. Russia will absolutely stomp that Marine Corps to death.
Yeah,
The bear will
yeah,
have its way with the eagle like you
yes.
never even understood it.
Real bears, not these stupid new bears.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Of course, this is whatever. I could give a shit really about this article. I just thought it was funny. Of course. I mean, this is just because the thing is, why the Marine Corps though? Why not say the Navy, who
Oh,
the
you know
meme,
why.
the eternal meme, or the Army? The
You know the
Marines
answer to
are
these
the
questions.
absolute dogs of war. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know
that's
the
why.
answer. Yeah, I know.
They're the hyper masculine. They're the Spartans. They're your modern day warrior caste, if you will. So we have to gay them up, just like how they pretend the Spartans were real gay, like that nonsense, or how they like I told you how they pretend Alexander the Great was gay, was
Dude,
homosexual.
he had like a dozen wives.
I'm aware he was very obviously not gay. Um, but this is the type of thing they do. There's even people out there who insist. They will insist to their blue in the face that Jesus Christ himself was gay.
What?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm with you, Edwin. Wink, wink. Yeah. Just didn't know about bears. I thought so. I like bears so much. Eric, listen to me carefully. And your Coast Guard comment. Fuck you.
It annoys me because
Spartans were commies. That's absolutely 100% true, Edwin. They were
th-
absolutely commies. Yeah,
they were, yes,
yeah.
and that's one of the reasons they don't exist anymore. It annoys me that they keep doing this. Nobody watches this stuff. Nobody ever. It doesn't
No,
get
I doubt
viewed.
it does well. Let's check it real quick. The inspection.
Came out in 2022, it looks like.
Okay. Here it goes. Box Office Mojo. Just see the raw numbers. Yeah, it made 250, like $220 million.
Chester, that's
Oh,
thousands.
excuse me, 220,000. Shit, what?
That's what I'm saying, bro. Nobody
Holy
watches this
shit!
stuff. Nobody. No, but now granted,
Wow,
fairness,
dude.
it was only in 5 theaters, it says its opening was, and then it grew from there to 144 theaters. But look how long it was in release, 184 days, bro. That's
Wow,
half a year.
wow. Um, wow, dude.
Yeah.
That is not that's really bad. Yeah, that's really, really bad. But yeah, no, you're right. People aren't watching because they're not interested. I mean, I suppose gay guys like it and cool, rock on. I mean, because
I don't
we
think they do though.
well, it
Because I bet
depends
you the
though.
gay guys agree with me. They want to see big old, muscly, big old, actual warriors out there doing this thing. They don't want to watch these little fruits
Maybe.
prancing around.
And of course, keep in mind, if you think there hasn't been gay people in the military for the entire history of man, what are you smoking?
Yeah.
Of course there have been, and it's just like the bathroom thing. You don't think there's been transgenders been using whatever bathroom forever? No one
Yeah.
cared, right?
Well, especially considering they used to at least make a good faith effort to look feminine, right? So you
No, they
couldn't
tried, yeah.
necessarily tell, unless you were really, up in their business. Nowadays, you got dudes, they just throw on a little blush and they're like, I'm a woman now. And
Yeah,
they're
it's
walking
it's
around,
ridiculous. What's
yeah,
going
no.
on with that? Is there like some massive midlife crisis going on? What's happening? It's weird.
Listen, I actually think I figured it out. And I don't this is tinfoil stuff, but I think it's the truth. You know the Alex Jones clip talking about turning the frogs gay?
Yeah, which he
I
was
think the
technically correct about.
correct. I think that same chemical, which is in the water supply of many US cities, is partially to blame for this.
Yeah,
Why
but
there's so much gender confusion now and so much,
it's possible.
something like up to 50% of Gen Z considers themselves not straight, depending on
Well,
the poll you look at.
well, you remember Doctor Strangelove, right? We
Yeah.
were talking about Kubrick, right?
Yep.
A week or two ago. And Doctor Strangelove, in there's the guy who starts the whole shit. The guy that made the whole thing happen in the movie, the military officer.
Mm,
His whole thing is, well, he thinks the communists are taking over the country because he thinks they're poisoning the water supply with fluoride, which is
yep.
weakening him. And of course, Peter Sellers asks him, his character asked him, "Why? When did you notice this? When did you first feel this was happening?" It was after I had sex. I felt weak.
Yep.
It's very interesting, and that because that's a long time ago, Doctor Strangelove. But that's a direct comment to what you had just said, and we know they're
Yep.
doing weird shit like that. But the thing is, all these these new women's, huge air quotes,
Mm,
they ain't getting laid.
yeah.
They're not getting laid. So therefore, it's not a sexual thing because they're not getting laid. I guarantee you they're not getting laid. So what's going on then? I mean, what is their goal? Because it's not a sexual one. So what's the benefit, dude?
Um,
You're 40
I,
something, 50 something. Where's the benefit?
attention,
Is it, yeah, but
Chester,
that's
as you
not a
know.
male quality, dude.
Oh yes, it is. Come on now. Midlife crises exist for that.
I
They get
suppose.
old. They realize that it's all downhill from here for them, and they go and buy a sports car, or they go and get a girlfriend who's way too
Y-
young for them,
You
or
know,
whatever.
that's a
It's all
myth.
about attention.
It comes down to
All about
that's when
attention.
they can finally afford it.
Yes, but it's not totally a myth. I know men who have literally done it, who have
Well,
literally done it for that purpose
no,
because
no,
they
I'm
wanted
not going to argue
the
that
clout.
point. I'm not going to argue it,
They
but
wanted the clout of it.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get a lot
Well,
of stuff, and my family, my wife, and my son particularly say, "Well, that's probably a good thing."
yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
It means, Chester, it means you're well loved.
I
Because a
suppose.
lot of men, this is the truth of it, and you know this, a lot of men live very miserable lives. miserable. They're miserable men. They have terrible lives. Their wives either hate them or just don't really care about, which would actually hatred would be better. They have no any. They're completely apathetic to them. They're just stuck. Their children don't respect them for various reasons. They have, either a dead end career or they just never really did anything they wanted to do because their life was their family. A lot of men lead very, very miserable lives. So I am not shocked that you see a lot of these middle-aged guys doing this stuff.
Mm.
It's a great way to get clout nowadays. It's a great way to get positive attention and make yourself special.
Is it positive attention?
Well, from some people it is.
Jesus. Yeah, I know it's weird, man. It's weird.
Yes.
Anyway, I just thought it was funny. And then of course we also have this story.
Disney partners with Equal Pride to make new pro sodomy content. I like that. To create quote systematic and meaningful change.
So, how is pro sodomy systematically and meaningfully changing?
I'm not sure. It's a
I
very
mean,
good question.
because I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Disney and Equal Pride, whatever that is. We have, I don't know, millennia of evidence that shows sodomy leads to disease. I mean,
Yes.
hands up in the air to the scientists, believe the science and all. Sodomy leads to disease.
And
Uh,
loose bowels.
and loose bot. Well, that too, I get. I don't really know how that
Yeah.
works. To be honest with you, Eric. But no, it's how is it we believe the science on one side, but then on the other side we don't? Because it always leads to disease. Not sometimes. It always does, and complications and stuff. It's not a healthy lifestyle, and that's going for the heterosexuals that engage in that as well. It's not healthy, and of course, in that case, it's mainly on the girls. But they're to be blunt about it, there's tearing and there's all kind of trouble that goes on. It's not intended for that purpose. I mean, scientifically,
It's an exit.
it is.
I will be right back.
But you know what I mean, Eric. It's we know it's unhealthy. We know it is.
Yeah, it's not safe. It's dangerous.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
But Disney
I
is
don't know why
partnering
they
with
do
it.
it.
No,
Yeah,
I don't get it either. Because it seems to me as it would be painful. But whatever. I don't really give a shit what the gays do. They can do whatever the hell they want. It's their body. Well, no, I'm a libertarian in that regard. We didn't do whatever you want to do. Leave the kids out of it. Damn it.
right, right.
And it's like, what are you doing, Disney? I mean, can you believe this statement coming here, Eric? I mean, we're older, right? And we grew
Right.
up with, Edwin too. He's in our camp. Um, we grew up with Disney, which is all about wholesome family stuff, right?
Oh
How
yeah, yeah.
how did it get
I,
here, dude?
I think it's just the sign of the times, man. It went from family. I mean, we had what Sunday night Disney Hour or whatever it was called back in the day.
Right?
On ABC, everybody sat down, the family sat down. There's always good, wholesome family movies, and now they're turning everything and twisting everything any way they can.
Yeah, no, and and the fact that Disney's leading the charge because they are. And they're going to do it all year long.
Yep.
It's like, okay, well, where you're Disney, you're a family channel, so where is this promotion? Of course, we see it in all your movies and stuff like that, but where exactly is the sodomy that you're promoting, Disney, for whom?
I hope it's not in the cartoons.
Well, obviously, I mean, it's got to be because I mean, if this was some other company and saying they were going to do that, it's all right. Well, they make plenty of adult movies. I'm not going to watch it, but it at least makes a little bit more sense. But Disney, I mean, it's not a thing saying, "Hey, let people be their own true selves." Fair.
Right.
This is literally sodomy.
Yeah, it's not good. Not good at all.
Unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable. But Disney's really kind of destroyed their name anyway. There's a lot of things going down, and Disney's got to burn. It's a shame. It's a real shame, because and like I was talking about with Disney Plus, Eric. I had seen it like once or twice because my daughter every now and then she wants to watch something and she'll buy
Uh-huh.
it for like a month. And
Oh, okay.
my wife will watch because it's all open. They are always sharing codes, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I actually took a look at the database. I didn't really see anything interesting to me there. But you know what they didn't have on Disney Plus?
What's that?
None of the Disney movies.
What?
We have decades and decades and decades of Disney movies and TV shows and all kind of stuff. None of it's on there. None of it. None of the
Oh,
stuff from the
that's
60, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, nothing. Nothing. It's like,
oh,
huh? And there
I
isn't any
haven't.
of the Fox stuff either. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
I haven't looked in a while. I know when I first got it, they did have Zorro on there,
Okay. But I mean, there's
but
so
yeah.
many things, dude. All those Elvis movies, all the Shaggy DA stuff, the Love Bug, all those TV shows, the old Walt Disney talking to you. Why don't you have that up there? I used
Oh
to
yeah,
love
like
watching
those.
Walt talk to me.
Yeah, yeah, and those Moochie movies too.
Hmm.
Moochie plays baseball or whatever they were.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
those were good.
Yeah. The teenager wears sneakers. The computer wears sneakers with Kurt Russell. Remember that one?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, there's so many things. The black hole, right? So many things, and they're not on there. It's like, what are you doing, Disney? You have an incredible library. Why aren't you making it available? Why aren't you making Disney Plus valuable? It's weird. And I think it's simply because it doesn't meet the narrative that they're after.
You know what? You might need to change your VPN settings to the US.
Why?
They do have a vintage channel on Disney Plus.
Oh, do they? Well,
Yeah,
I don't have Disney Plus. I'm just saying,
yeah.
okay, I looked at it
There-
once.
I mean, there's some old stuff on here, but I mean, here's the Apple Dumpling Gang,
Oh, hey, Apple Dumpkin Gang. There you go. That was good stuff.
Mary Poppins,
Mary Poppins, yeah. And the Tom Hanks telling
oh,
of how he got that was great.
the computer wears shoes right here.
Sneakers.
Sneakers. No, it
Yeah,
says shoes.
it should be sneakers. Why did they change that?
Those bastards.
No, seriously, why did they
No,
hold on a second.
right.
The computer wears sneakers. That's the name. Hold on. Is this a Mandela effect?
They probably changed it because of the same reason they're changing the words to "Kiss the Girl" in the new Mermaid movie.
The computer wore tennis shoes. Yeah,
Oh, it does say tennis. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought for sure it was sneakers, dude.
And it is a Mandela effect. I guarantee it.
Yeah, no. Oh, goddamn Google. All right. Anyway, screw these people. Screw you. You're just digging your grave quick as possible, dude. Quick as possible, especially with this wreck of a human. Oh goodness gracious! All these whores of Babylon, dude, just everywhere.
That's a good turn of phrase you just used because that's exactly what they are.
Well, they are. It's interesting how the Bible uses that because, of course, there were plenty of negative opinions about Babylon from the Jews because, imprisonment and all that.
You know that old
Yeah,
chestnut.
sure, that old chestnut. But throughout the Bible, it uses Babylon as a reference of decadence and
That's correct.
depravity more than it does Sodom or well, especially Sodom or Gomorrah. It doesn't. You would think it would use that because Sodom and Gomorrah is a clear allegory of the debauchery is not good for you, right? But the Bible doesn't use Sodom as an we do these days, but the Bible doesn't. The Bible uses Babylon.
Yes.
Yeah. Over and over and
Fallen,
over.
fallen is Babylon the Great.
Yes. No, that's true. That's right. That's right. It's over and over and over. Rome is referred to as Babylon many, many times, and the Catholic Church
Yep.
constantly accuses someone to be in Babylon. Although, if the shoe fits,
Right? Talk about decadence. Holy cow. They have giant golden thrones and things.
Oh,
Like,
the
come on.
Catholics were the absolute worst, dude. The absolute worst, the Catholics.
Well,
Uh,
that's
but
why
uh,
America
don't,
exists.
yeah, don't get me on that. Anyway, I want everyone to get ready. I want you guys to kind of
Uh-oh.
get your energies positive and flowing because we're about to have a cheer. We're all going to cheer. You ready? New headline.
I'm not in there yet. I'm not in there yet, so you're gonna have to read it.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have to read it because, well, I will read it. Okay, fine. Here we go.
Ooh.
Live action Conan the Barbarian series no longer at Netflix. Woo! Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Good news has been dealt today.
Thank God.
I will say
Thank
this:
God.
it does seem that whoever's in charge of the property, the IP of Conan,
Mm,
is very,
picky.
very, very, very gatekeepery, and I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah.
They don't
Well,
mess around. You f around, you gonna find out real quick.
well, the two things I've seen they've allowed to flow through in modern times here, other than that horrible Jason Momoa movie, which we shan't talk about. But two things. One was a tabletop role playing game that was stunningly gorgeous book, beautiful, beautiful, and there was so much pomp and circumstance about it. Matter of fact, one of the promotional things they had the guys who created it. They went and did a live stream at Conan's creator's house, his childhood house. They did it in the house and did a
That's
live stream.
cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. But there was a lot of great promotion with that. And the other one, which I own both of them actually, is a board game with the fighting system from Monolith. It's the Monolith fighting system. And just gorgeous. It cost me hundreds of dollars to get the complete set. But it's like a miniature tabletop fighting board gamey thing. And that had a lot of pomp and circumstance. Matter of fact, they were this kind of the same. I think they were part of the same project. So the family allowed that, and it was beautiful, wonderful, right? We know that Amazon was trying to get this off the ground many, many, many times, and it kept failing because we kept hearing that they wanted to. They felt, the people over Amazon felt that Conan was what's this modern world word? Problematic.
Ah.
Yes, damn right he is. Because Conan is not a hero. He's not. He's raw. There's one of the bridges. I think the dumbass bridges actually. No, it wasn't Bridges. It was the what's the guy who shot the girl in the Rust set? What
I don't know
family is
what you're
that?
talking about.
Well,
What are you talking about?
the actor who shot the
Baldwin.
cinematographer.
Baldwin.
Baldwin. Yeah, the
Oh,
Baldwin.
that. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's a Baldwin quote in one of the Mission Impossibles, and he's talking about Tom Cruise's character there. Well, what's the name of that character?
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt. He said that Ethan Hunt is the absolute embodiment of destiny.
Oh,
Great quote. Great movie line, dude. Great movie line. That's what Conan is.
yes.
He is the embodiment of destiny, and he will murder and fuck his way to it.
He is inevitable.
He is inevitable. He's not a hero. He's not the good guy. Sometimes he ends up doing the right thing, but not necessarily for the right reason. So, of course, he's problematic. That's the whole point,
Yes.
right? He is this raw, destructive force that, in the end, rights the day, not because he wants to do right, but because you fucked with him.
That's right.
Do not
Poke
fuck
the
with
bear.
him. Do not poke this bear. That's
No.
that's Conan. And he should be problematic. He should be raw and rough. To be honest with you, the Arnold movie didn't really go where they should have went. It should have been darker, right?
Yes.
Although I do love that movie. But it doesn't matter. I am absolutely there you go. There's some Conan. Yeah. Fuck you. You're dead now. I'm not. But the thing is, thank God, dude. Netflix, I mean, Amazon would have screwed this up. Netflix would have done. Oh my God, dude.
Oh.
What was this word Twinkie? What is this word you used?
Twink. Yeah.
Twink.
Twink.
Dude, we'd have had Conan Twink Conan.
Well, now, Chester,
I don't know where the adjective goes.
now you've got me thinking, who could play a good Conan nowadays? Like, who's out there? We don't have an Arnold. We don't have somebody that jacked.
Well, we do.
That's
We
an
do. That's a good actor. To be fair, Jason Momoa wasn't a bad choice. He wasn't.
Yeah, he's
Um,
just not big enough.
He
He's not
well at
jacked
that
enough.
time he's bigger now, but the movie sucked balls, dude. That was not a good,
Yeah.
well written movie at all. It's not a good Conan movie. He could do it. I mean, to be fair, Conan is a Cimmerian, which is a Celt, basically. So
Yep.
it should be a white dude, but I don't think Momoa was a horrible choice. I don't know. What do you think, Eric? Who'd be a good person to play Conan these days?
I think they should find an unknown. A big old
Yeah.
bear kind of burly dude. Yeah.
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 No,
Go find a
I like
bear.
that stuff.
yeah,
Just
I-
get a bear, in fact. Just an
Yeah.
actual bear.
Yeah. No, actually, they should try to find a weightlifter that has some kind of acting ability that hasn't been in a movie before. Someone
You
new.
know, you sold me. All right, you sold me on it. Chris Bumstead. The only problem with Chris Bumstead, he's Mr. Olympia, 4-time Mr. Olympia. The only problem with him, he has the body. He's insane. The only problem with Chris is he has a lisp. So that would
That's not
because when
good.
he says savage, it comes out savage, and it's hilarious.
Savage.
But
that
he's
is funny.
cool about it.
That
he's
is
not,
funny.
He's not.
Yeah.
He his whole gimmick is he makes fun of his lisp, right? So it's
I get it.
he has like a whole brand about it.
That's
But
funny.
but no, as far as like physically, yeah, he could be Conan. He's a monster.
He could. Well, one of the Skarsgårds could do it. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
they'd have to dye their hair, I think. But
Yep.
one of
They're a
them
little
could.
lanky though.
Well,
little
to be
lanky, but
fair,
they
if
can
you
pull it
read
off.
the book, he is lanky.
He's lankier.
Yeah,
what
no,
they show.
Arnold has created this image, and of course Frazetta really, and that's fine. I'm happy with this Conan. But if you read the books, he is a head and shoulder above her. He's tall, but he's more of a wiry brawler. He's not this, he's not Arnold. But that's okay though. I have zero problem with the Frazetta Conan. No one does.
Right.
I'm just saying Skarsgårds could do it. Justice, especially some of the shape a couple of them got into. They're blonde is the problem.
Yeah.
The blue eyes is fine, but they need to be dark haired. Because he's a Celt. He's that's what he is. He's a Cimmerian, a Celt. Because keep in mind what why do I keep forgetting his damn name, Eric? The writer of these books, Howard. What he was doing was he was looking at the flood, the deluge, right, as the destruction of Atlantis, and what raised out of the ashes of that. So his stories are set like 10,000 years ago. Is kind of what he's doing. So the Cimmerians, from his point of view, is he's probably thinks he's talking about the Scythians or the Sumerians is probably what he's trying to reference with that, because you did have the stag people coming out of what we call France today, which did go down and invade Mesopotamia, and they're ultimately the same ones that came down into Africa, and of course we call them the Hyksos, or today, they're not real, but the fake Jews.
Oh no.
Well, they're
Yes,
they're
they're really committed to the lie.
well, dude, they're Khazars. They're not
Yes.
from the Levant
They're
at
not
all.
Semites at all. Yeah. Oh,
Well, I
I
mean,
know.
you could call them Semitic, I suppose. If a person from Azerbaijan is Semitic, I suppose. But I'm just saying they're not the original Hebrew. They converted. We have the history, people. Anyway,
You can go over to Israel and see original Hebrews. I've met them.
yeah,
when
they're
I
called
was there.
Palestinians.
Yeah. Well, check it. God, this guy, he's just out for trouble at this
I
point.
know. I just crossed the line. Crossed the line. Whatever. Yeah, no, I would love to see a good Conan, and you're right. Probably get some unknown guy and work him up. because it could be a lot of fun. But we got to keep in mind, even though the original Conan the Barbarian, with Arnold, was not book accurate, it was so beautifully done, though. It
Yep.
is a seminal classic, right?
It's very well.
Yeah. Anybody disagree?
No.
Yeah. And in some ways, I think it's a better movie than, say, the Star Wars, right? Because, I know some will argue me in this, but what makes Star Wars great is Williams' score.
Mm.
Conan's score is epically awesome as well. But if you take that score away, it's still awesome. Imagine Star Wars without Williams' score. Imagine.
It would suck dick.
It would suck.
Actual
Yeah.
penis.
But this
Yeah.
movie actually does not suck.
Chester, I'm not going to argue with you on that because I've said that for years.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars is carried, especially the original trilogy, besides Empire, is carried by Williams's unbelievable
Beautifully
score.
so.
It's legendary.
Yeah.
It's gonna outlive all of us by 1,000 years.
True.
If
No,
human civilization exists from going forward, I think those songs will exist.
no, I
Genuinely.
agree 100%. And Empire is a much better movie. That is true. But what was the name? Belin? What was his first love's name? Conan's first love? Belin? Belia?
Something like that.
Belial. Yeah. They used this girl here and she's someone he runs into later, really. But what I would love for them to do is go back and tell us the first story. It's really cool how he ends up leaving his home. I guess you don't have to go into the giant, the remnants of the Atlanteans is what he runs into first. But go down and with Belial. Well, goddamn, that's not her. Bellet. That's her name. Bellet. Go down and tell us the Bellet story, dude, because that's great. It's tragic too, because she's a brutal, bloodthirsty thing, just like he is. But boy, they're a perfect team because that's the only true love of his life was Bellet.
And topless.
And always topless, yeah. She was, and she's a pirate queen. These modern peoples are gonna love that. But tell us that story, dude. That'd be great. But no, it doesn't matter. We're not gonna get it, and thank God we're not getting it because my God, Netflix would have. I can't even imagine the nonsense. And thank you, Conan Howard family, whoever you are, for saying no. Thank you.
It would have to be a younger guy as well, anyway.
Yeah,
Strictly because most likely, and obviously Hollywood has trickery, but most likely an actor in his 40s isn't going to be able to.
Unless you
They
do
might be
Conan
able
the
to pull that-
King.
Yeah, they might be able to pull that physique off, but they're going to want to be covered up more than Conan requires. Whereas a younger guy might be a little bit more confident, if you get my meaning.
Well, once again, I understand that movies and books don't have to be the same, and I am not arguing that. But if you read the book, Conan is usually covered.
Yes.
He's not a bare-chested barbarian. He's really not. Yeah. But whatever, I get your point. Yeah.
Look up Chris Bumstead real quick, Mr. Olympia. He actually could pull it off as far as like the Frazetta version of Conan, which is most likely what I think most people would want them to make.
Well,
because that's what most people know.
I'm really most concerned of why he's waiting for ass, but okay.
That's his name.
What?
Is his name Bumstead or Baumstead?
Bum, B-U-M, Stead.
Yes, the translation of the Bumstead, waiting for ass.
Oh, good grief.
Oh, he
Yeah,
is.
he's huge.
Cut off that tan a little bit there, buddy. Get a little off that
Well,
tan a little bit, buddy.
he's got that stuff on, so his muscles pop out better.
Yeah. Oh, look
But
at
yeah,
him
he's
here.
a big
Oh,
boy.
hold on a second. There you go. That's better
That's
than
what
this
I'm
shit.
saying.
Oh, he's a
That's
big
what
old
I'm
boy,
saying.
but he's
Yeah.
got a lisp. Nah, that ain't happening, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, he
it
does have a
actually
bit of a lisp.
in this in the Conan movie, Arnold's accent worked for him, right? It
Yeah.
made it feel archaic, right? So yeah, no, a lisp isn't going to work unless we do like Arnold and Hercules in New York and dub over his voice.
It's not that bad of a lisp. It's just certain like S's that catch him a little bit. It's not like he's out here every other word trilling off like he's got.
Is it a Mike Tyson lisp?
No,
Okay.
no, he's a really good dude too. He has a YouTube channel. I watch it sometimes. He just seems like a totally like he just loves bodybuilding. That's his
Yeah,
whole
that's cool.
passion in life.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he's not very old. He's only like 25, 26, I think 27. He would be physically, he's the right age, I think, to pull it off. And he's obviously a very good looking guy.
Yeah.
So
You could darken his
he
hair up a
could do
little
it.
bit. Easy
it
enough. Put a wig on him or some of those Hollywood wigs. Yeah, no,
yeah,
but the acting thing is kind of important. But then again, with Conan, he can be quite chatty,
yeah,
but you can do what they did with Arnold and cover it up with good surrounding cast, right?
yes.
You could. It's irrelevant. There's no one out there, no company out there that should be that is worthy of making Conan right now anyway. Nobody.
That's true. They're all
Just
scared.
leave it be. Let the Japanese do it, and that would be a wild ride. Yeah,
Oh my God. It'd be Berserk, basically.
it would
It's
be.
basically
Yeah.
Berserk.
It'd be extremely bloody, and there'd be flat-chested booby ladies everywhere.
That's right. Yeah.
Jeez.
Dude, it's a freaking epidemic. You don't understand, Eric.
I'm
I
glad I
don't
don't
understand.
understand.
I have a
Well,
beautiful wife who's very ample, so I
well,
don't have to worry about
you
it.
don't have to worry,
As
but
do I.
well, yeah, over here in Japan, though, the women are always conservative. I mean, there's certain little pockets in Tokyo that aren't like that, but in general, Japanese women are very conservative in their dress. They don't show legs, they don't show cleavage. You never see cleavage here, right? But recently, the fashion has gone so dowdy. My God, dude. It's incredibly dowdy, and it's these long dresses with the long sleeve shirts and the strap dress over the top of it, right? Very dowdy,
Mm,
but because it's more emphasizing the flow of the dress, the top is actually a bit tighter than usually you see them wear, right? Because they're
nice.
usually very loose. No, no, it's not. Washboards everywhere, everywhere.
Okay. Well, it would be nice if they had some body, but
They do not. They're scrawny, skinny little things. Well, I mean, the thing is, Japanese ladies, they know they're not sexy. There ain't nothing sexy about a Japanese lady.
no
Therefore, the culture here never goes for it. What it does is it goes for cute, and they do that well.
cuties.
Yeah, they do the cutie thing, and cool, fair enough.
It's a shame. Whole culture of unsexy women. But I mean, in fairness, oh boy, Japanese men, that's a whole problem.
It is a problem.
It's a whole problem.
It is
Yeah,
a problem.
they're not an attractive people. The Japanese man,
Yeah.
they're not pulling that off. Some of them, occasionally, you'll get one that's out there, outlier, but by and large, eh.
Yeah, no, and they're also not very masculine. They're
Yeah,
not romantic at all. They're anti-romantic, right? And that's
yeah,
why, because if you take me and put me in America, well, I'm a little bit older now, but when I'm younger, I mean, I have game. I could pick up a girl, right? But
sure.
I'm not going to getting tons of attention all the time, right? But over here, because I'm masculine, I'll joke around, a little bit of the friendly flirt, right? I just get a lot of attention flowing at me all the time. And it's because the Japanese men don't step up,
Oh
right?
man, I'd be a
That's what it
problem
is.
over there. I am a
No,
flirt like you wouldn't believe.
dude, a lot of foreigners get themselves in trouble here because there's pussy just opening itself up constantly for them.
Yeah,
And it's like a
it's a big
Wow.
problem.
smorgasbord
Yeah.
and they overindulge and it becomes troublesome. So I'm not joking, it's serious.
I'd
It's a
have
problem.
troubles too. Yeah. I'm with
Everybody
you.
would. Well, everybody would because these girls, I'm very, I don't know what they call it today, OCD. I'm very
Mm,
meticulous, right? So it's easier for me to control those kind of things. But yeah, a lot of dudes get themselves in trouble because it's a smorgasbord. It's just laid out in front of them because these women they're desperate and they're hungry and they don't even know they're hungry until they are, right? They have no realization of it. It's like you never ate bacon before, and then someone gives you bacon. Oh, geez, you're going to gain 10, 20 pounds in a month. But anyway, this is great news. Stay away from Conan, you bastards. But anyway, I have another one more story here. So, and I think it's an interesting story. We just fell into the ocean. What happened?
Into the ocean. Oh, I was in my bedroom and there's like 3 fans going in there.
Yeah, but
Alrighty.
here you are. Okay.
Dennis Quaid voices support for the Good for Texas campaign and its push to bring the film industry back to the Lone Star State. Quote, "We want to make Texas the film capital of the world," end quote.
I clap
Do
for
you?
this. I clap for this. There's a solution. Make a new Hollywood. Hmm.
Well, we've already kind of done that in Georgia.
Yeah, but Georgia's just as woke, right? Georgia
Well,
is
Atlanta
not
is.
going a good direction if you haven't noticed.
Only
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But Atlanta has a lot of power. See, Georgia's a bit different because Atlanta has so much power. It's like Japan. Tokyo dominates everything, right?
It's like Illinois.
Yeah. But in
Chicago.
I want
Texas,
to know.
you got many
My
places.
state was actually their favorite word. My state's actually diverse, and luckily, no one city dominates.
Yeah, but are they using the word properly or improperly?
No, proper. Well, I'm
No.
using it properly. They're
Fair,
using
yeah.
it to mean some racist nonsense,
I
but
mean,
I'm using it properly.
I don't know how you would ever use the word not diverse for America, the most cosmopolitan place on the planet.
Yeah.
Are you really serious?
Now,
You know?
Japan, you could say that, sure.
Oh yeah,
all
you could
Japanese.
definitely say that. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean, you know the funny thing is, you know where the second most diverse place on earth is? You never guess.
Egypt.
Russia.
Russia.
I called it. I guessed it. You know how I know that? The only reason I know that is because like 3 or 4 years ago, I was looking into Putin, right? Because I saw a lot of people were all pro Putin online, right? A lot of right wingers, whatever.
Sure.
And I just did like a little bit of a study on the demographics of Russia because unfortunately, whether people like it or not, they do matter. And I was stunned actually. I expected not that. And then I got
Incredibly.
in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, they're a mess.
And you know what?
Russia
You
is.
know, shocking thing, they all get along.
Yeah, it works over there. It's too
Yeah.
damn cold to fight. They're like, nah, listen.
Yeah.
Listen, it's
yeah.
too damn cold.
Well,
We ain't
no.
got time.
Because you never hear any problems like that come out of Russia. That's never the headline. The headline is the
Right.
Russians don't like gays, and they don't.
That's about it.
That's about it. And they got Christians,
And there's a lot
Muslims,
of bears.
Orthodox, lots of bears. They
Yep.
have religious cults that are allowed to do as they will as long as they don't cause harm. They have
Yep.
Asians, they have Arabs, they have Persians. I mean, my
Isn't that
goodness.
where Jesus lives? The guy who claims he's Jesus?
Oh,
Like
that guy?
5,000
Yeah, he
followers?
does live in there. And you know what?
Yeah.
He's let to do his thing because he's not causing any harm, right?
Yep.
You know, you'd be surprised how lenient Russian laws are when it comes to your own personal privacy and your own freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. Because you have to understand, not only did the Baltics and all the other people live under the Soviets, so did the Russians.
That's right.
And they didn't care for it very much. They want their freedom. They understand the dangers of socialism. They understand it better than anybody else.
I think there's some truth to what I said. It's just too damn cold.
That might be that's probably true. It is true.
Be meddling in other people's business. They have to literally survive because it's cold. I know one of the practices they do over in Russia is they take intentionally really cold showers in the summertime to keep their body used to the cold because the winter is so nasty
acclimated.
That they can't risk it. Yeah, they can't risk getting deacclimated to it.
Yeah, and keep in mind the majority of Russia is what they call Siberia.
Yes.
Yeah. But Eric, you're not wrong though. Egypt is an extremely cosmopolitan place, and it always has been.
Yeah, I knew it a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they still are. They still are extremely diverse. Yeah. But no, it's number one is America, obviously, because we are literally the melting pot. We are the hub of human activity right now. Although it looks like our run is going to be a bit short.
Fallen is Babylon the Great, Chester.
I know, but the problem is, where does it move from here? I guess we'll, of course, America still might have legs. You know, don't count us out yet. But where does it go? I don't know. We might have a stagnant period, and there always are.
Dark age.
Well, yeah, the dark ages, they do come. Because right now, the one thing, oh God, man, these morons played right into Putin's hands, dude.
I know.
I mean,
They
it's
don't listen.
so stupid. I mean, because I don't really care what your opinion on Putin is. It doesn't matter. It's completely irrelevant. The dude
He's
has
gonna stay
played the
Putin.
West hardcore, dude. Hardcore. Where do you think the whole Brinks Nation thing coming up and actually controlling more of the world's economy than America does in a single year? You think that was unplanned?
No.
Because they do. You understand? They control like 36% of the world's economy right now. America's
Yep.
sitting down like at 31.5 or something like that in a single year. And if you pay attention, before all this was going on, before this started, Putin was traveling everywhere, wasn't he? He was going to
Yep.
all these countries having these little meetings, and no one paid any much attention to it at all. Well, that's what he was doing, right? It's. I mean, what do you think, Eric? What is your opinion on the Putin?
Lie.
I really don't have much of an opinion. I mean, he's probably a little crazy, but I don't think he's stupid.
Yeah, and he's certainly anti-West. Without
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
negative for us. But the thing is, I mean, isn't it a bit embarrassing to us that he played the West so easily and so hard? Isn't it embarrassing? I'm
To
embarrassed.
most of us, yes. To most of us, most people don't care.
It's ridiculous, dude. What he has pulled off a global coup d'état is what he's done. And of course,
course
no
he-
one knows this because the media, of course, is 100% owned, and they have their narrative. But if you look at the demographics, you look at the economics, you look at the shift in power. My goodness, do you realize how close we were to having Turkey out of play, Erdogan out of play? How close we were to having China out of play?
Yeah.
We were so close, dude. And now they're just. Yeah. How long do you think it's going to be before Erdogan joins BRICS? How long you think?
Oh, not long at all.
Yeah.
There's no good reason for him not to.
Well,
What's the incentive?
he just won his country's election again. 110% of the vote he got. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wow.
It's impressive.
You
Really.
need him in your economic alliance. I mean,
Yeah.
he's amazing. He
He
gets
is amazing.
110% of the
110%.
votes. That's amazing.
Well, Turkey is always important to any trade agreement. They've
Yes.
always have been, and they always will be, simply because of where they are. That's a
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
location, baby.
The
Right?
world is returning back to its historic powers.
It is.
The
Yeah,
bear
oddly,
in the north,
interestingly enough, yeah.
Turkey in the center, and China in the east. Everybody in between benefits from those three working together. There's no downside from
Yep.
Turkey, Russia, and China working together for Asia.
Yeah,
None.
no,
There's
that's true.
no downside to that.
Eurasia, to be honest.
Yes.
But then again, a lot of people don't understand the historical effect of things. When you go to school and you study history, a lot of times your history professors, because they're morons and they don't know actually what they're doing, right? But
Yeah.
what they're doing is they're teaching you, oh, the Europeans went around Magellan, yay! They traveled, they went all over. Navy, awesome. Why did they do
All
that
for
though?
fun. They did
Well,
it
yeah,
for
but
fun, Chester. They were curious.
okay, but I mean, of course, there's a reason they did it, and of course,
Uh-huh.
the reason is always the same, no matter what point in history you're at. Money. It's
Okay.
always about money, baby. And those Europeans went and found the way to get around the Horn of Africa there, so that they could trade directly with the East, because they were sick and tired of all the tariffs and bullshit of coming out of the Ottomans or Turkey, right?
Yeah.
That's why it happened. The whole thing happened because of Turkey. And look at the extents these Europeans were willing to go to make it happen for themselves, and to simply bypass customs, because that's what it all is. They wanted to bypass customs, right? Literally, as in
Yep.
you go to the airport and pay your taxes, right? So we have this age of adventure and exploration. Had shit to do with any of that. You ever wonder why all those things you say, oh well, it's Britain, it's the Dutch, it's the Germans? No, it's the East Indies Company. It's the Dutch East Indies Company. These are companies that are doing this. They're not individuals. They're not states. They're all business related, every single solitary one of them, right? And here we come again. What are the Europeans going to do now? They're either going to bend the knee and open up trade, or they're going to have to go around the horn again.
Yep. Which honestly, a return to traditional power balance is probably for the best for everybody in the end.
Maybe.
Uh, I know it doesn't seem like that now with American hegemony and before that British hegemony, but I think we have a much more, here's that word, Chester, it's become the word of the day, equitable world
Mm.
if there's not one big dog dominating everything.
No,
Because you have a
competition
lot
does
less.
help. Yeah.
Yes, competition breeds excellence, and it also limits grievances. When you have somebody who's been doing like America's been doing, where you're just lording over everybody and forcing your way on them, that just breeds hate. That's all that does.
Well,
That doesn't help the actual diplomatic situation in the long run at all.
no, but we used to do it with a sense of kindness, though. That's gone,
Yeah, now it's
right?
just do what we say or else.
Yeah, no, it's become very bullish. But yeah, no, it's just incredible to me, and I don't know how that conversation came out of this. But however, I'm 100% on board for moving Hollywood to Texas. I'm all for it.
Yeah, why not? What could go wrong?
Yeah, no, I
Well, they
100%
already
agree.
kind of have it there with Austin, right? Austin's there, and it's
Sure.
very homosexual.
Well, Austin's weird, keep it weird and
Yeah,
all that. But that's all right. That once again, diversity,
yeah,
right? And the Texans don't have a problem with Austin. It's a part of their culture. I think a lot of them are worried about all these Californians flooding into Texas. And they're the idiots destroyed their own state, but of course they're going to bring their stupid ideology with them, and
yeah.
that's a concern. Um,
Well, the
but
solution is to just make it illegal for anybody, a transplant, to vote. You just
mhm.
don't get to vote. You can live here all you want. Cool. You don't get to vote.
Yeah, but that Governor Abbott, to be fair, I mean, people seem to like him, but I don't. I think he's a very ineffectual governor, to be honest with you, because
Well, his legs don't work.
well, I wasn't. That's a low blow. Okay, um,
Well, he
uh,
can't feel it.
and that's true. That's true. But I mean, because you realize he does have the power to shut the border,
Of course he does. Every governor does.
but he doesn't.
Especially Texas's governor. They have a military, and he doesn't use it.
Yeah, I think Texas needs to be getting a little bit more aggressive.
Yep.
And what we need to do is transplant DeSantis into Texas because that guy is on some manner of ego trip,
He's
um,
doing
uh,
something.
in a good way. But
Yep.
well, maybe in a good way. We'll see. But anyway, so promoting Hollywood being moved to Texas or simply Texas doing more movie making is great. We do have one little problem though. Yep.
Uh-oh.
Hollywood in the past, when it was politically correct to do so, made plenty of Christian based material. Now, they're not Christians. Most of them are Jews, actually, or working for Jews, the majority of people in charge. And I already went through why that happened. And it's completely innocent. And actually, it's a perfect example of the American success story, is what it is. But they made plenty of Christian or wholesome content for a very long time, right?
Yep.
So they're very capable. The problem is, actual conservative people suck at media.
Hmm.
Suck balls, dude. Have you ever seen a Christian movie?
Well, I'd say there's exceptions, but yeah, by and large, they're not very good.
They're
I would say
bad.
Mel Gibson's a fairly conservative guy, and he's fantastic.
Well, that's the exception to the rule, right?
Yeah.
Because most of these are really bad. They don't do a good job of making media. They just don't. And the reason
Yeah.
for that is because I think a lot of the stuff in the world comes down to brain chemistry. I really, really do.
Hmm.
Because this old, the idea of right brain, left brain, right? Right brain being more creative side of you, the left brain being more analytical. And people, the average citizen in the world is 60/40 of their brain is operating one way or the other, right? 60
Right.
40, 60% this and 40% that. And the ones who are on the creative side, the right brain people, the 60 or plus percent people that are on that side are simply more creative, but they also tend to be more progressive.
Hmm.
And I think brain chemistry plays a direct role in how humans think and interact. I really, really do. Culture can impose itself upon your opinion, for sure, obviously. But in general, I think that this brain chemistry aspect, which is, keep in mind, I hate to be on the side of the idiots, but it is something you're born with.
Correct.
You can't change that. Understand that. You can't change it. You can fight against your nature. You can. And some people do it successfully for a very long time. But it is something you are born with. If you are right brained, you are right brained. And I just really think it's right down the middle of political thinking, and that's why in most any country, if you can get a free opinion from someone, an honest opinion, you get this 50-50 split, because
Right.
it literally is 50-50. Half people are this and half are that, right? People like me, who are the excessively rare. I didn't know this, but we did brain chemistry tests when I was a kid. They had like a IQ test and a brain chemistry test, and like the physical IQ test and all that kind of stuff they did to all us kids. I'm sure Eric went through it too. But um, I'm a 50-50 guy, and we're super, super rare. We're not
Hmm.
normal, right? And the other ones, the geniuses, because geniuses comes out of not so much out of the IQ, it comes out of the brain chemistry. Like Albert Einstein's like 80-90% left brain. That's where genius actually lies. It isn't in the IQ as much. IQ is more about recollection and comprehension. But the
Speed.
speed, yeah. But brain chemistry is about how your brain functions, right? So someone like me, I can be very artistic and I can be very autistic. But it's
Oh, we already knew
it's
this.
true, right? But someone like an Einstein, whose IQ is not particularly very high, but he's so left-brained, he's able to see the analytical in a better way, as was Tesla. I'd say Tesla was probably even more broken than Einstein was. But a lot of people don't understand that, because you get morons who don't know what they're talking about, and they constantly throw around the IQ, IQ, IQ. It's not what you
Hmm.
think it is, dude. It really isn't. But
Yep.
my point being is, humans break down in a 50-50 state of being rather right brained or left brained. And I think it explains everything. I really do. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Cannot change the brain chemistry, Chester. You can't do it. Well, you can, but you got to use a hell of a lot of drugs.
Lots of drugs. Yes. Tons,
Yeah.
tons, unbelievable amount of drugs. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But it's only temporary. And
Yeah.
some people do
Hmm.
fight their nature. There are plenty of people who do fight their nature. And that's a lot of things, like, when people say with the homosexual. One of those homosexual arguments was that, well, I'm born that way. Well, we know that there's a very small percentage who people are, but nevertheless, okay, you're fine. You're born that way. But so are
Yep.
people with kleptomania,
Yes.
and people with who are firebugs, and sociopaths. Do we stand up and say, well, sociopaths, they tend to gravitate toward being murderers? Oh well, they're born that way. Just gotta let it be. We don't.
Right.
Nobody accepts this. Neither do the gays. So for you to sit and say you were born that way, is that an excuse?
No.
Is it an excuse to alleviate yourself of the responsibility of common law? I don't think so. I doubt that very many people. I imagine most gays don't agree with that, right?
No, you're
So
right. I agree with you. That's I've always found that argument to not be. It's not even an argument. Doesn't matter.
it's weird. Yeah.
Uh, you're born a lot of different ways, so you should never, ever, 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 ever change those ever.
Hmm.
So some people are born with a proclivity to lying. They're much more
Sure.
deceptive than others.
Well, all
That's
humans,
fine.
but I get your point. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
You
same
should
thing
you
with
should just
with pederasts and pedophilia, pedophiles. They're most of them are born that way. They are.
so
Yeah.
there's a lot of really messed up character traits that people have. Simple things like rage. I'm one of them. I have
Sure.
a bad anger. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't control it, or at least strive to control it,
Eric's
because
anti-hair.
Uh, no, no. I am. I like to keep my manly parts clean, but I don't grow hair on my legs. So maybe you are right. I am
wait, you don't
anti-hair.
grow hair on your
Anti-hair.
legs?
Alien.
My hair does not grow legs. My dad's
Wow.
legs
I
did
am
not grow hair.
so glad that your hair doesn't grow legs.
Yes, me too.
That is comforting.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
hoping you didn't hear that. I heard it after I said it, and
yeah.
You're some kind of reverse Medusa. What's
Sorry.
going on here?
Yeah.
no, it's kind of a family thing. My dad, my brother had hairy legs, but I didn't. My dad didn't. My dad's sisters have never had to shave their legs.
Wow. Yeah, no,
Interesting.
I have a very uniform light body hair. It's very uniform though, but I don't have much in general. But
Not me.
yeah.
When it comes to the legs, anyway, my legs
Shaggy
are
DA,
a
huh?
coat.
Yeah. My son's like that. His legs is like a freaking chimpanzee. Well,
Yeah.
you know Ben's not here, but I'm sure Ben is busy. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but China's is at full on war with America in cyberspace right now. I know most
Yeah.
Americans don't seem to know this, but yeah, no, it's serious. So Ben is busy. However, Ben is literally a Sasquatch.
he's
I
he's the
I
one.
can picture that.
Yeah,
No,
he's the one.
he's ridiculously hairy. We went to a barber. We went to a barber, right? And the barber saw his T-shirt, and it was just literally hair. And the barber was like, "Huh?" And he's literally because his hair wasn't that long, and he's looking, he pulling the T-shirt down, and Ben's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm trying to see where your hair ends." He said, "It doesn't." So the
He's
barber,
a wolf man.
no, he did. So he took it off. It's just this freaking hairsuit pelt on the back of him. And we took one of the barber things and zip, right up the middle. And dude, shocking, like 10 inches.
No, I'm not like that. My hair is very normal man hair. It's not quite bearish. Not
Oh no,
not
no, no.
some sort of forgotten creature that's wandering around amongst
Right.
humans in broad daylight.
Sasquatch.
Well, I mean, but you guys, I'm not going to, dox him, but Ben has the most quintessential German name you could ever possibly have. And I mean true German. I don't mean the Scandinavian implants. I mean the actual Germans, right?
Mm.
Adolf.
Yeah, the hairy ones, the dark-haired hairy ones. Yeah, them. But yeah, no, it's not shocking at all. But no, Ben has the most German name ever, dude.
Funny.
It's so perfect, actually. So
And he's a
anyway.
hairy bear man.
He is. He is. He is. He is. Which is good in the beard department because he can shave and then a day later he's got one back. So that's
Jeez.
handy. That is handy. Where me, it takes a couple weeks to get it back,
Yep.
So,
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't know, unfortunately, because of the native. I don't grow a full beard. It just won't do it. It doesn't grow on my chin at all.
yeah.
At all. Nothing.
Well, most Asians can't grow it hardly at
Yep.
all. But here, the Japanese, don't tell them. But they have a lot of Russian, or what we would call Russian today, blood in them. So they actually can grow somewhat fair beards.
Right. Yep. Not me. I can grow chops. If you want a neck beard, I got that all day.
Oh, okay.
But when it comes to on my face, it just won't grow. I don't. It's weird because on my mother's side is where that's at, and my uncles, most of them didn't have a problem, but for some reason, I got
Yeah,
it where
it's
I
all
can't.
right.
My father had a full beard. He was a grizzly of a man.
Yeah, you don't
I don't
need it
know.
though. It's all right. I
Strange.
carry a full beard, and I've had one since I was 14. But Eric, you're a Van Dyke guy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mostly, honestly, because I don't have a chin. My chin's, set back on my face, so that's why I always keep the Van Dyke going.
Yeah, no, well, I get it. I get it. My chin is not so weak, but it's not Bruce Campbell either.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So a beer certainly helps with that. And
Mine's close
a
to Bruce
wild
Campbell.
Corlac has responded. I prefer Silverback, yes, sir. Yes, I know.
As he gets older, that will become more and more
It
true.
will. Yeah,
Uh,
actually, it would be interesting to see Ben all grayed out. That would be interesting because
he would actually be a gorilla, is what you're
no,
saying.
dude,
A
it's
great white ape.
you do not understand the peltage that is going on. You really, really don't. And and you know it, Ben. It is impressive. It is impressive. So I'm sure many men are jealous of your hair growing capabilities, sir. But anyway.
No, luckily, even though it won't grow there, I have a lovely jawline, so I'm all right. I'm
Oh,
doing all right.
there you go. There you go. Um, but like I was saying the other day, is yeah, because like Eric, who's born on your birthday? What famous person is born on your birthday?
Oh, Tom Hanks was probably the number one. Yeah.
Tom Hanks. Okay. How about you,
And,
Thundero?
I have absolutely no idea.
Well, just type it in.
Let's find out. Let's find out.
How about you,
Let's see it.
Ben? Who's born on your birthday? Let me hold on a second. I think it's the guy from Hogan's Heroes.
I had O.J. Simpson as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
Murder.
Robert Downey Jr.
Ooh, you got a lot of good ones.
Well,
Scarlett Johansson.
I knew. Actually, I did know this. Now that I see his name, the man himself, Walt Disney. Born on my birthday.
Oh,
cool.
sweet. That's a good one. Well, I actually have an amazing one, but I bet that's not as fun as the bad one. I am related by birthday to Pocahontas herself,
Oh.
Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, I thought you meant actual Pocahontas.
Now, I do have one here that Chester might know, but I'm sure Thundera will know. Kevin Nash.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
no, I know
Big
Kevin Nash.
Sexy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
from the Motor
Diesel.
City himself. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know who he is. No, but I actually, the cool one for me is Bruce Campbell.
Oh, and apparently Taylor Swift shares the same birthday as me. That's interesting.
That's
In my
depressing.
life, in real life, I have never met somebody with the same birthday as me in my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I
This is
probably haven't
unusual.
either, actually.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
on your
Martin Van
birthday,
Buren.
you tend to be with people celebrating your birthday.
No,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but I mean just in general. Like I've ran into there was a girl in high school who had it exactly 1 month. She was exactly 1 month older than me.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
that's the closest I've seen besides my cousin who is 3 days after.
Yeah, my cousin's one day before. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But I'm a June baby, and most humans are June babies. The vast majority of people are born in June for obvious reasons.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not particularly special at all in that regard,
Well, I'm an early
or
December
any
boy.
regard really.
Yeah.
December, well, you're a
Early.
weirdo. That's weird.
Yeah.
How
It's
about
not
you,
good. It's not
Eric?
fun.
Early July.
Yeah. So you and I are normal. Yeah.
So wait, you're Eric July?
Ooh,
I'm funny.
Young Ripper. That's a cool name.
Yep, December 5th is my birthday.
Well, there you go.
December 5th.
Yeah, my kids are both born around in fall, but I was trying to have a Halloween baby,
Yep.
and my daughter is October 4th, my son is November 14th. It's hard to judge that shit, man.
I think my mother was trying to have me born on my father's birthday because his is December 19th,
Oh, okay.
and I got close. I came
Yeah.
real close.
You can try. It's hard. You can't manage it perfectly. But the cool thing for me, I want to talk about the fun gymnastics of math. My daughter is born on the 4th. My wife is born on the 4th, and my son is born on the 16th. Right? No, excuse me, the 14th. The 14th. Right? And here's the interesting thing: 14 plus 4 is 22, which is my birthday.
Interesting.
and that's my license
Huh.
plate.
Curious even.
Curious, isn't it? Yeah.
Hmm.
But that's my license plate, 0414.
Chester, you're freaking me out right now.
Am I?
I never thought about this before. So my birthday is the 5th. My
Yep.
father's was the 19th.
Yeah.
19 plus 5 is 24. My
Mm.
mother's was November 24th.
Oh, there you go. There you go. No, math is great
Huh.
that way. I know math loves to do that. It's it's the nature of reality and its desire for symmetry. Because a lot of people say that nature is asymmetric and they're dumb. Because
That's correct.
the reality is incredibly symmetric and it's constantly desperately trying to get to it.
We live in a mathematical universe,
We
Chester.
do, but not these days because we've been told that what math is racist.
That's true. Math is
Yeah.
evil
Yes.
white man's creation.
Yeah, dude.
Even though it isn't. But we'll
You
pretend.
know the funny thing about that is that they clearly don't know that the majority of math that we use today is coming out of Arabia and India.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Very brown people.
You
created it.
know, yeah. I mean, the
Yeah.
Greeks did some cool shit with it, to be fair. But them Persians and them Indians are kind of really ones that laid down the system. Matter of fact, those little
Yeah.
numbers we use, Arabic.
Yeah.
You know.
It's a secret. That's the secret sauce right there.
Yeah. But I guess brown people are racist though. So that's fine.
Well, have you met him?
I suppose. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying it's so dumb. They're saying that this has been imposed on us by the white peoples, and it's like, huh?
Huh?
What?
No, it hasn't.
No, it hasn't.
Wait, you made this up. We're just
What
we
are you
kind of
talking
took it
about?
from you.
I mean, the Europeans, we use the math. We've done a lot with it, but
We like it. We're
yeah, I
fans.
mean, it kind of goes Persian, Indians, and Greeks.
Yeah.
So but
Which
whatever.
at the time were blonde-haired, blue-eyed, red.
Well, the royals were, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But
Well, that's who was doing a lot of the math was the
yeah,
nobles.
possibly that's
upper
true.
class.
That is true. But you know what I mean, though. It just shows you once again they don't do their research.
They don't know.
They don't know.
They think everything is as today. Nothing before was different. They ignore linear time, which is the most frustrating thing because how do you have a conversation with somebody who their brain doesn't work because they don't have a proper conceptualization of linear time? They think everything is happening all at once. And if they don't, they behave like they do.
Well,
It's very weird.
now you're
It's
getting
very
all
weird.
German on me here.
Yeah. Well, I am German, so that works
Oh,
out.
fair enough. Well, the Germans have taken the math and rather run with it. Let's be fair.
They do. They like it. They're fans.
They are fans.
They're very good at using it to build fantastic machines.
Yes, and things that destroy planets. They're good at that.
Well,
you know,
we didn't
yeah,
need those
yeah.
anyway.
I am looking forward to that new Oppenheimer movie, though. That looks good, dude.
Looks good.
does,
Yeah,
yeah.
it looks good. But speaking of other movies, there's another one that came out that's the debacle on it is impressive. Netflix created a little series called Cleopatra. and they literally, I mean, the absolute vanity, dude. The entire country of Egypt is racist from their point of view. They've literally said
Yeah.
this. They haven't insinuated it. They have said directly the Egyptians
The
are
entire
racist.
country of checks notes, brown people
Yeah,
are racist.
yeah, yeah. The beauty of it.
I love it.
The
I love
beauty
it.
of it. Yeah.
I love it so much. It's delicious on my tongue. And the best part about it is the fact that it's an utter, unmitigated, undeniable, unquestionable flop. This is the lowest rated thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, it is bad.
It is an absolute disaster in all fronts, and they just cannot stop.
Well,
they can't.
Because beyond their identity politics, they didn't bother to make a good show as well.
No.
Which they never
Their
do.
whole point was black. They wanted that screen, that black Cleopatra. That's it.
That's what
all
they
they
want. That
wanted.
was the whole thing. But the sad thing about this is the real sad point is the Egyptians instantly fought back against that shit. Culturally. They're like, no. But yet look at the British, right? Anne Boleyn, Achilles,
Cucked.
Charlotte, Queen Charlotte, and many others. And not a single member of the government has stand up and said, "Hey, maybe no." Right?
They're
You want to
completely
create
done.
fantasy characters, fine, but these are historical, actual people. Maybe no, right?
Maybe
But
we
they
should
didn't.
represent them properly.
Well, but I'm just saying it's sad. The Egyptians did what they should do: stand up for their culture, right?
Yes.
But the Britons don't,
No,
right?
the Britons have been utterly, unmitigatedly cut. They
They have
are.
been,
They're
yeah.
not even a people anymore. Let's be honest. They're done. They're over.
Well, London's
50 years from
gone.
now,
Yeah,
they won't exist.
yeah. The thing
Well,
is, when I was younger, a young man, I went to England, and I was in Manchester, and I was in London, performing. It was a great opportunity. I got to play with the surviving members of Pink Floyd, actually. But
Nice.
yeah, it was pretty cool. The food was awful, but the experience was fun. But walked around London, and it's a very cosmopolitan city, but pretty much it was English. But you go there now, there's no English. It's all. I mean, go look at any video in London today. Go look at just a street view. Go take a look at it. You would think you're in Tehran,
yep.
seriously, or in Pakistan or something. You wouldn't imagine it's London.
Nope. It's done. It's done.
And some
They've got
people
about
would
50 years.
Well, some people would say that observation is racist, but is it? I mean, if I went to Tokyo and it was all a bunch of Nigerians, I'd be a little concerned, right? Wouldn't you?
Be a problem. Well, so with the
Yeah.
Japanese, I don't think they would permit
Yeah.
such blasphemy on their soil.
No, they wouldn't. But anyway, hail to you, Gregory. But
Just as
any
lucky they let him in there.
That's true. That's true. Well, I got a little bit of, and Ben can back me up on this. I have a little bit of what's called gaijin power.
Oh.
Yeah.
Swinging
No,
Gaijin power?
that
Well, he's
too.
basically Godzilla, so they're
Yeah,
like,
no,
well, we better let him in or he'll destroy the city. So,
I'm a rather tall white man,
yeah.
and that anywhere in the world you go, that there is privilege with that. So a lot of these people like to throw around the word privilege a lot, and of course, the only real true privilege in life is wealth. I mean, it doesn't
That's
matter
right.
what color you are. Wealth is the actual where privilege comes. But being a white dude
It's green.
traveling.
Green is the color of privilege.
That is true. Well, for Americans, yeah. But the thing is, being a white person traveling in brown countries or yellow countries, there is a certain little bit of fame. Now, it's not a totality that you might think, because here in Japan, I can get away with anything. I could be an absolute ass if I wanted to, right? But at the same time, I'm never going to have any kind of political power, right?
Mm.
And that's fine. I really don't think I should. But there is a little bit of truth to that in regards, if you particularly if you're a tall white man,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
girls are absolutely chomping at the bit for you, and the men look up to you literally. So
It would be interesting because I'm an average size white guy, but
mm,
over there I'd be like 4 inches, 3 inches taller than your
yeah,
average
you
man.
would, you would.
So
Ben's
that's interesting.
Ben's bigger than everybody over here too, and he's not particularly tall, but he's not short either. How tall are you, Ben? You're like what, 6'1", something like that?
Something like that. I
Five
think
five
maybe
eleven. He's
maybe
somewhere in
more.
there. He's not short. He's not
Yeah.
a little guy. But of course he was much bigger, and he's a thick fella too. So he was way bigger than the Japanese. Um, yeah, gaijin power is a real thing. It is a real thing. It absolutely is. And you have to tamper yourself to that. It
Yeah.
falls into responsibility. Just like I
That's
was
correct.
talking about when the white dudes come over here and they can get women easy. I mean, he's so easy, dude, right? And it's
Yeah.
dangerous. It comes down to this general thing. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should,
That's
right?
correct.
And you have
That's
to.
true.
It is very true, and you have to control yourself. And I'm constantly trying to remind myself of that. I'm trying to, remind myself to be humble, to not allow myself to be arrogant. I'm constantly trying to check myself in these things. because you don't want to let yourself go down that road. But the thing is, we see so many people just diving headlong into narcissism, not even trying to, you know, balance themselves or check themselves at all. I mean, the level of just unmitigated narcissism isn't it's
Well,
I don't really don't know what to say.
one good thing about our universe that we established,
That's
apparently
true,
even with
Gregory.
birthdays, which is creepy, is it is a mathematical one, which means it's a reciprocal one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And that this level of narcissism isn't new. We've seen it before throughout
Oh
history when
sure, yeah,
people forget themselves. The solution will come, and it will come viciously. And those people
yeah.
who are that
Sadly,
way, who are
sadly,
genuine narcissists, their egos are massive. It's not a game. It's not a joke. It's not a meme. That these are real, and they're real. We know they exist. We've seen them. Um, they're going to pay with everything they have because we
right.
do exist in a fair universe. It might not be fair right away, but I genuinely believe nobody ever gets away with anything.
It does
The
balance
end.
the receipts, yeah. Well, I saw something recently, Eric, on this, because I check out what's going on in the West every now and then. I know it's not a perfect image of it, but
Right.
it was on a show called like Whatever or something. And it seems like a Christian fella, is talking to harlots, really, is what it looks like.
Yeah.
And they're having a conversation about modern dating and modern things. And there was a very, very, very large Jabba the Hutt transgender on it, right? And
Uh-oh.
somebody even made
Yeah.
the joke of putting Jabba's voice, right? Which, I
Oh,
actually have a
Yeah.
little bit of sympathy for it, right? I would. However, this person is coming out constantly with their little 15-minute of fame, this guy, and going on and on. And I saw the other day there was a little TikTok, I think that Odin's Men had put up, and in this thing, this man dressing as a woman that's a size, I don't know what size it is, but it's gigantic. It's a very, very overweight man. There's literally no neck left, right?
Yeah.
Saying that I'm a perfect 10. I'm beautiful. All your men are in my DMs.
ugh,
No.
Now,
that doesn't happen.
no, well, the thing
I
is,
can assure
now
you.
I'm
I
usually
can
pretty
assure you where I'm not in those DMs.
well, no, but I mean, I'm usually a pretty good judge of sarcasm,
Yeah.
and copium. I'm usually a
Yeah.
pretty good judge of it. But the way, and this guy has said this several times, um, the way that he's saying it, I think he believes it.
That's just sad.
Delusion.
But it's almost beyond delusion, though.
You know what they
You know,
say, Chester? You know what they say? Denial is not just a river in Egypt.
Jesus. With
but
that,
there are people out there that get off on that. So who knows?
well, no,
I
I
know.
understand that. I mean, particularly with men,
Yeah,
not so much with
yeah,
women, but particularly with men.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
plenty. I mean,
Yeah, men are
that's
gross. We'll put it in anything.
well,
It's
no,
a problem.
and there's some guys who actually like big girls, and there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that always gets me with this argument when they keep making all this noise. It's like, baby, there's a dude out there for you, without question,
That's true. Yeah.
right? There are plenty of the dudes that has no woman for them, though. I'll tell you that. But as a
Yeah.
girl, you definitely got a dude out there for you. Even
You
this
have to
this
be
Jabba guy.
an absolute. I don't even know the proper word to describe how wretched you have to be as a woman, where no man wants you. None. Like you, it has to be something. I don't even have words for it. You would need a poet in here to describe the wretchedness of this female, where no man would be willing to have sex with.
I have seen some ratchet
Yeah.
females in my life, dude. I have,
Even Amber Heard still has men wanting her.
Yeah,
or women.
yeah.
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 But no. I don't doubt that this guy can actually find a date. That's not my point. My point is that the delusion that everyone's up in his DMs, because he must
Yeah.
know that they're not, right?
Yeah.
but yet he's going to delude himself into thinking it. And I see it all the time. And it's probably even a worse example when you look at a pretty girl, right? Because
Yeah.
she's abusing herself for the right of being valuable. And it's
Yep.
it's like, huh? How you think that's going to work out for you, baby? Anyway, it is time to
Anyway,
go. It is time
it
to go.
is.
Eric, would you like to say something to the peoples?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Just it was fun to hang out with you guys for a little bit.
No, you're always welcome. We like to have
I
more
know.
voices in here. Yeah. So
Yeah,
help
we
me
definitely don't
defend
want to talk to
myself
each other.
against the
God.
young ones. Yeah. Anyway, all right, guys. We'll see you later tomorrow. Of course, we're coming back here on Bugbear's Basement for those of you guys who are interested in that. It's very niche, but Puffin's going to run a campaign here for a little bit, and we'll see how that goes. Should be fun. I've been kind of been in charge of all the creative there here for quite a while, so it's nice to put those reins back down and just kind of relax. But come back for that. And then, of course, we have Drone Recorded Ultimate Edition this week. And what are we doing? Pixels, right?
I am not sure. I thought Pixel originally said next week. He
Oh,
launched his campaign this week, so either we're going to do Pixel's Merkmaid or we're going to do Amy's Choice.
It'll be a surprise.
oh, that's right. Amy's Choice. That's right, because it's her birthday. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
it's
should be
one or
fun.
the other, so we'll do one of
Little
them.
Amy's birthday.
It
Yeah.
is.
Aw.
Yes, the cancer-inducing girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chester
So-
might actually find out how old she is.
I think I've narrowed it down.
what do we got? Let me hear your best. guess.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not. I'm just.
Oh,
It's
it's a
it's a
secret.
joke. I'm not really want to put her out there like that. But I would suggest, Eric, that you should really push and promote the fact that for Amy's Choice we do various cartoon characters with heavy amounts of diabetes.
Yeah.
She suggested independent video games.
Oh well, that makes sense. The girls do make video games. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So who's going to do Icarus?
I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, take us out of here, Thunder.
I have two for you, Chester, and they're about what we were just talking about. This one is one of my newer ones. I really like this one. The toll of wishful thinking always comes due without expectation, yet with a thunder.
Ooh.
And we've been talking about all this delusion. And what is delusion? Well, delusion is a lie. Truth is more powerful than the lie, which is the only reason the lie exists at all, to subvert the truth's power.
It's true. It is true. Yes. Namaste.
Say.
Later, everybody.